By the way, that game with Oklahoma will be right here on Fox Sports 1 on a Thursday night. So
that's your game, right?
Well done.
Well, there's a softball for you. I can't wait to watch.
Plug.
And we've hardly mentioned Lake Seastrunk. Great name,
yes.
Wonderful tailback, a guy who thinks he is worthy of the Heisman Trophy
Averaged
as well.
over 9 yards a carry, 5 touchdowns in 2 games.
Plus a true freshman wide receiver, Robbie Rhodes. Watch out for Robbie Rhodes.
They're playing Louisiana-Monroe, by the way. We've all done nothing but talk about number 20 Baylor for good reason. Here's the call, Craig Bolerjack and Joey Harrington. Guys.
Let's go, Baylor! Let's go, Baylor! Let's go, Baylor!
Rob, thanks, and a big welcome to the heart of Texas. Waco is home to the Baylor Bears and home to the most prolific offense in college football. It's always wild in Waco. A big welcome to Fox College Football presented by Geico. Louisiana-Monroe against 20th ranked Baylor. Craig Bolerjack along with the old gunslinger Joey Harrington. Glad you're with us here on Fox Sports 1. Baylor is explosive. Louisiana-Monroe, Joey, has to play a near-perfect football game to get a win today.
Well, that perfect game is going to have to come from a guy named Colton Browning, the reigning Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year. Last week, went 43 for 68 in their first ever win over an ACC team at Wake Forest.
You know, the Bears' offense is very much like the wind. It's always on the move, and quarterback Bryce Petty keeps that offense in motion.
Well, Bryce Petty is just the next in line. Robert Griffin III won the Heisman. Nick Florence led the whole country in total offense last year. All Bryce Petty's done this year is be the most efficient passer in college football, and he has talent and weapons all around him.
Speed is the key for Baylor, and our Ryan Neese thinks he can run with that freshman Baylor line.
Craig, you're absolutely right. It's all about speed. That's a key word of the day. Louisiana-Monroe has to be worried about the speed of the Baylor offense. You look at guys like Seastrunk. You look at guys like Reese, Linwood, and Goodland. These guys are going to be flying around the field all day long. I'm worried about speed in front of the Baylor front line right now. I got to lace up my track shoes. So does Louisiana-Monroe's defense. They got to put their track shoes on and tackle in open space if they want to win here today. It's the only way for them to slow down Baylor's offense. This is going to be a great day, guys. I'm excited. Got to run right now.
Oh, and there he goes. The Baylor line has been a tradition here since 1970. All the freshman students wear their special Baylor line jersey. They run on the field and create an enormous human tunnel for the team to take the field. The Baylor Bears have become one of the most fun, fast, and explosive offenses in the nation under head coach Art Briles. And today, they'll look to keep that going against the Warhawks of ULM. Stay tuned. It's all coming up next on Fox Sports 1. Blue skies over Floyd Casey Stadium. Beautiful afternoon for football. Art Briles runs the show for Baylor. He's on the sideline with our Ryan Neese. Guys?
Coach Briles, you have one of the most prolific offenses once again this year. You had the opportunity to coach some outstanding quarterbacks, the most notable Robert Griffin III. What makes Bryce Petty different from all the rest? What makes him outstanding?
You know, he's just a good player. He's very intelligent. He's been in our system for 4 years. Great accurate arm. He's a fierce competitor.
Coach, you guys have been 14-1 and at home over the last 2 years. Why have you guys been so successful here at home?
Well, we've got a great crowd, as you can see today, and our guys really feel confident at home. We're going to play our tails off today. I can promise you that.
All right, Coach, best of luck today. Back up to you guys.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Coach Briles. And here we go, set for college football. Sheets of rain came down through Waco, Texas yesterday, Joey. This is a beautiful scene, a little windy this afternoon, but the fans have come out to watch some exciting offense from the Baylor Bears.
Sheets was generous. That's a kind way of putting it. It was coming down in buckets. Roads were flooding. We weren't sure if this was going to be a dry field here today, but good. This is fantastic.
Louisiana-Monroe won the toss and chose to receive, and we're underway on a Saturday in Waco, Texas. No return as Aaron Jones watches that ball bounce out of the end zone. And for the first time, we'll see Colton Browning. Senior, 66 career touchdown throws, the reigning Sun Belt Player of the Week and the Sun Belt Player of the Year 1 year ago.
Colton is this offense for Louisiana-Monroe. He does everything. He distributes the ball. He's going to take off and run. He is the guy that takes the team on his shoulders and wills them to win.
Jairus Edwards, number 7, Lines up alongside Browning, 6'1", 211-pound senior. And a lefty. He throws into the backfield, and that's May. Tavares May is rocked for about a 2-yard loss back to the 23-yard line. And Joey, let's set up today's impact players.
For Baylor, Bryce Hager and Ahmad Dixon are going to be all over the field. Ahmad Dixon, we saw a big hitter in a secondary a couple weeks ago with Washington State. This guy might be one of the biggest hitters in the country. Rashawn Caesar, Jerron Ham, just two of the many weapons that Colton Browning has outside for him today.
No gain on the play. That brings up second down. The lefty in the pocket, slides away from troubles, got man coverage up top, lobs one, and it's broken up. No, now a late flag. Dropped at the 35-yard line. Ahmad Dixon, the deep safety, came over, got a hand up on Rashawn Caesar.
Well, you know what? Baylor was lucky there. Colton had his guy running deep behind the secondary. He got clean, but take a look. He's thrown into a pretty stiff breeze, and this got hung up.
Number 6 defense. Penalties 15 yards. Previous spot. Automatic first down.
Our official, our referee today, Jeff Hilliard, with the call. There's the bump right across the face mask.
It's the right call. It's the right call. Rashawn Caesar was running wide open behind that secondary. And I think Colton just underestimated the wind a little bit. Had he put that one out there, it's 7-0 quick.
Last year in Monroe, it was a 14-0 lead by the Warhawks early in a wild 47-42 win by Baylor. Over 1,100 yards of total offense in that game. Handoff goes to Edwards off the right side. No gain on the play. Second down at the 40-yard line. Byron Bonds, the freshman, out of Allen, Texas, with the tackle. Second down. Both these teams like to hurry up. And now Browning takes a glance sideline. Two wide receivers set near side. Edwards, a little stutter step, nothing on the outside lane. He tries up the middle, maybe a yard, and he's knocked down by the middle linebacker, Bryce Hager. Hager had that 91-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown against Buffalo. He's a terrific middle linebacker for Baylor.
You know, Craig, a lot of the criticism of Baylor the last couple of years has come from the defensive side, that they haven't been able to hold people, get them off the field, keep points off the board. But right now, and up to this point in the season, they've done a much improved job on defense.
Allowed just 8 points a game and 2.3 yards per carry. Up top, man coverage. Boy, the sun glaring in the eyes of Jerron Ham. And what a jump for a first down. He out-jumped K.J. Morton.
Boy, great recognition by Colton Browning on that way. Baylor played what's called cover zero. They brought everybody, one more than Louisiana-Monroe could block, and Colton recognized that outside, threw it up for his receiver to make a play, and he went up and got it. Great recognition on a chance to really attack the Baylor defense.
Ham stands 6'4", Morton stands 5'10", 20-yard pickup on Ham's 15th reception of the season. Edwards lines up alongside Browning. Tries to hit the edge. Good pursuit. Runs out of one tackle. Picks up 3 to the 36-yard line, and the nickelback, Sam Hall, brings him down.
Watch this throw and catch here. Going up in high point now. Jerron Ham going up. I mean, this is a textbook perfect high point catch. Colton recognized that he didn't have the time to throw the perfect ball right over the top, so he gave his receiver a chance to go up and make a catch. And that was as well as you could draw it up for Louisiana-Monroe.
2 running backs alongside Browning, Edwards and Washington. Browning wants to roll. He does. He throws middle of the field, caught. Jerron Ham, all of a sudden now becoming the favorite target, and he limps off the field after a big gain and to move the chains for a first down.
Hey, I'm very impressed with Colton Browning so far. On that play right there, he's rolling to his right. Remember, he's a lefty. And so that was actually his third read. He had one guy in the flat. He had a guy running a post over the top for number 2. And then your third read on all those keeps is the drag from the backside. And he threw across his body into the middle for a big first down.
Pick up a 13. They spread the field with 5 wide receivers, man coverage, and it's overthrown out of bounds on the far side. I got to be impressed with Ryan Neese able to run with that Baylor line, my man. You still got wheels.
I appreciate that. I was trying my best. But I tell you, when I look at this Warhawk offense, they move the ball methodically. Yes, they're an up-tempo offense, but as a defensive player, you got to understand, you just got to get lined up. They're going to move the ball methodically and dink and dunk. If you line up and tackle, you give yourself a chance against this offense.
Well, it's been methodical to this point. Just under 11 and a half minutes left in this first quarter on this opening kick. It's the 8th play of this drive. Throw it out of the backfield on the hands of Montero Washington. And he's at the 19-yard line, and a host of Baylor Bears on the tackle.
You know, Craig, Ryan made a good point there. People think that a spread offense is automatically a fast offense and an offense where you're trying to score in under a minute. Baylor does that. Oregon does that. Oklahoma does that. Louisiana-Monroe, they run a spread, but they chunk and chunk. Last week against Wake Forest, 3 touchdown drives of 17, 16, and 12 plays. They're going to try and control the clock. Just because they're spread doesn't mean they're going super fast.
So they're chunking right now.
Absolutely.
They've got a 4-minute-plus drive. This is the 9th play of this drive inside the 20-yard line. Quick throw on the slant. Let's see if a flag comes out. No, right on the spot. That was Caesar, knocked down by the centerpiece of this defense, Ahmad Dixon.
Hey, Craig, that's the 3rd time today that Baylor has run that cover 0 look. I think we can see what their philosophy is going to be. They're going to bring pressure, and they're going to try and heat up Colton Browning, let him get the ball out of his hands quickly.
Todd Berry decides to go for it on 4th and about 5. They're 2 of 5 on 4th down conversions this season. Browning shotgun at the 25. Good protection, throws wide open but incomplete. Kenzie Jackson made the cut at the 10-yard line, and a missed opportunity, what could have been a first down for Louisiana-Monroe.
And a perfect strike by Colton Browning there. Receiver just needs to get his head around a little bit quicker. Watch, he's going to put it right off the ear of the linebacker, right behind his head. It's a perfect spot right before he gets in front of the safety. Just got to get your head around and make that play. Those are the plays you have to make if you're going to go on the road and beat a top 25 team.
Berry made the call. You have to gamble when you're on the road against one of the most, if not the most potent offense in college football.
They got to score points. I mean, that's plain and simple. They got to score a lot of points.
Bryce Petty at quarterback throws. There's that open space. Great protection. If he has that type of protection all day, he'll have his way against Louisiana-Monroe secondary.
Well, Bryce Petty has been nothing but spectacular this year, leading all of college football in passing efficiency, just picking up where every quarterback seems has left off at Baylor.
18-yard pickup, first down, 3 wide receivers near side, and it was a little, you got to catch the ball before you run with it. Corey Coleman, redshirt freshman, drops that pass off the hand of Petty. Let's get the impact players.
Hey, there are players all over the field for Baylor, but Antoine Goodley, Tevin Reese, keep an eye on them outside, just big, strong burners. And in the defense for Louisiana-Monroe, these safeties are going to have to be active.
Petty up top, man coverage, racing up top, on the hands, Goodley! Touchdown, Baylor! $63 yards as Petty drops his 5th touchdown pass of the season, and Goodley grabs his 3rd.
Craig, they didn't give me time to talk about this. Louisiana-Monroe, they're going to play tight safeties. They're going to play aggressive safeties to try and stop the run. But you know what? That means they got to get back so they don't get hit over the top. Just like that, Baylor strikes in a heartbeat.
Aaron Jones set to try the PAT. He's got a streak now of 125 consecutive point-after attempts. And just like that, 63 yards. Baylor strikes, and they're up 7 in Waco. Back in Waco, Goodley just went officially now 64 yards And a 7-0 lead. They strike fast. 3 plays. 31 seconds off the clock. 8th touchdown drive, Joey, under a minute for Baylor.
We didn't have time to blink. I mean, we had all these things we were going to talk about to set up the first touchdown pass over the top, and by the time we even got to it, they'd already scored. This Baylor offense is an understatement to say this is probably the most explosive offense in the country.
Aaron Jones has it teed up, 35-yard line. Back to receive Courtney Davis. He's deep at his own goal line. Davis at the 1. Davis at the 15. Stutter step, trying to go outside. Breaks a tackle to the 24.
Hey, Craig, we've seen Baylor play cover 0 a couple times. Look at this mess in here. Louisiana-Monroe's trying to get pressure so they can get right over the top on them. When you commit that many people to the line of scrimmage to try and get pressure, you're leaving your corners and your safeties on an island deep in the secondary, and you're banking that you're going to get home and disrupt the quarterback before he can throw it over the top. When you got guys that can run like Goodley and Reese, that's not going to happen very often.
It's a bang-bang type of offense, and we saw it here in the first quarter. Remember, though, Louisiana-Monroe drove the ball very well on their first possession. They've got it again, and they need points as Browning rolls out, throws over the top, and it's incomplete. Time for a Lowe's Never Stop Improving game break. Let's go to Los Angeles, and here's Patrick O'Neill.
Craig, thanks. South Dakota State at Nebraska. It's kind of a big week for Bo Pelini, don't you think? But Jackrabbits tied this game up at 14. Zach Zenner, his 2nd rushing touchdown of the game. That's where we stand in the first. Craig and Joey, back to you.
All right, thank you, Patrick. Yes, the hot seat is on Bo Pelini. It's also on Lane Kiffin at USC. They've got Utah State later. Browning escaped the pressure from Terrence Lloyd, but the ball is incomplete. 3rd down.
Hey, Craig, this is the 2nd time Colton Browning has tried to get outside of the pocket on this bootleg, and the 2nd time that Terrence Lloyd has been in his face. Last time forcing him to throw back across the middle. This time trying to find his check down there. It's tough to make those accurate throws when you're under pressure, and these defensive ends for Baylor, we're going to talk about them a lot today. Lloyd, Oakman, they're going to be in the backfield all day.
3rd down from the 24-yard line, empty backfield, 5 wide receivers. As Browning throws a quick out, watch out. That's a pick-6 opportunity as the ball deflects off the hands of Tony Cook, and Dixon, you could tell, smelling the end zone.
This Baylor offense is leaving, or defense, excuse me, is leaving nothing on the field right now. They are coming from all directions. They're coming from the outside off the ends. They're coming from the safety position. They are bringing pressure, trying to force Colton Browning to throw the ball before he wants to, trying to disrupt him.
Anton with the punt, line drives. Takes a Warhawk bounce, and it keeps rolling down to the 25-yard line. That means Baylor's got the football. A 51-yard punt, and when we come back, we'll see Lake Seastrunk power back with speed. 6 consecutive games over 100 yards. You'll see him on Fox Sports 1. The Louisiana-Monroe quarterback Colton Browning on the headset. He moved the ball well, Joey, first series, and that time struggled with pressure from the edge.
We know what they've done is they've shown that cover 0 look what we talked about in the first drive, where they're bringing one more guy than the offensive line can block. That time on that drive, they brought the outside pressure, but they dropped the D lineman out into coverage. So he didn't have to throw it as fast, but it's something to trick Colton Browning and get it out of his hands.
Petty wants to throw and does. Coleman finds open space, far sideline, dances to the 40-yard line. A 15-yard pickup. It's all about space for this Baylor offense. Petty on a play action. In the pocket. Again, protection. Again, open space. Again, Goodley. makes the grab to the 49-yard line of Louisiana-Monroe. Time for today's Ford Keys to the game.
Well, that's right. For Baylor, attack, be offensive. Get the ball out of here. Throw it all over the place and score your points. But for Louisiana-Monroe, don't be worried if they score, because it's going to happen. It happens to everybody. You got to get back and play your game if you're going to stay in this one.
Seastrunk gets the handoff off the left side. He'll punch his way for 2. Averages 9.3 yards per carry. He's ran for 261 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's all right.
Petty quickly back to work. Wide open. Bingo. Another touchdown as the Baylor Bears walk it in with Kevin Reese. 63 yards on the first throw. This touchdown covers 47.
Craig, this is becoming a common theme already here in the first quarter. The Louisiana-Monroe safeties, right through here, all of them, they're trying to be aggressive, stay up close to the line of scrimmage so they can play the run. But you know what? You can't get deep enough to cover those deep posts with the speed on the outside of Baylor. It's an impossible position for these safeties to be in. Be close enough to cover the run with Seastrunk, yet get deep enough to cover the posts with guys like Reese and Quickly.
Another chip shot. Aaron Jones now 20 for 20 on the season, and the streak now numbers 127 in a row. 4 plays, 75 yards. Baylor having their way, up by 14.
Does Baylor really need time to score points?
No.
A minute and 12 seconds compared to almost 5 minutes of time of possession. They're up 14-0. This offense they don't need time. Just give us the ball, we're going to score. You can take it and do whatever you want with it, because when we get it back, we're going to score again.
Kevin Reese, how about this stat? 17 of his 19 career touchdowns, 40 yards or longer. That last catch was 47, and he walked in 14-0.
How do you do that and live in obscurity behind guys like Kendall Wright, Terrence Williams? Explosive.
Deep kick, Courtney Davis out of the end zone. He'll let it fly, and Louisiana-Monroe, I think it's safe to say they've got to answer back with a drive, much like what they accomplished in the first series.
Well, it's what we talked about a minute ago in the keys to the game. Are they going to get shell-shocked? Are they going to be offended? They need to come out and continue to play their style of spread offense, which is chunk, chunk, chunk down the field. Don't try and get it all back at once. Don't get taken out of your game if you're Colton Brown.
So the Warhawks go back to work, down 14 at the 25-yard line. Edwards makes a cut up the middle, and he'll slash for maybe 3 up to the 27, 28-yard line. Let's check in with Ryan.
Joey, you just made a point that offensively they got to keep playing their game. I'll tell you defensively, the defensive coaches just came to the sideline, circled up the DBs, and said, you can't keep saying my bad. That's the last time I want to hear that. If you keep saying my bad, Baylor's going to drop 70 on us. We got to play our defense.
Edwards takes the pass in the flat from Browning, and he's knocked down near the first down at the 34-yard line. Terrell Burt made the initial hit.
Jarvis Edwards is a guy who's kind of doesn't get enough recognition. 11 touchdowns last year for Louisiana-Monroe.
Battling close. He had to just break the 35-yard line, and believe he did, as a line judge is going to mark him just over the 35. Masumbuko with the tackle, along with the big 6'9" right end, Sean Oakman. You can't miss him. Fresh downs on a play-action pass, tough throw far side. And it's off the hands of May. How big is Oakman? He reminds you of the Too Tall Jones era back with the Dallas Cowboys.
He reminds me of Charles Oakley, the old New York Knicks power forward.
High snap taken, thrown, picked off. Joe Williams, 41 yards.
Craig, Baylor's defense has succeeded in doing to what Colton Browning, what Louisiana-Monroe's defense wanted to do to Bryce Petty. They got him rattled. They got him out of his game, and they forced him to make some mistakes here that he normally wouldn't make.
First interception of the season, and he runs it in. 41 yards for the touchdown and the extra point to come. Aaron Jones, so far, it's been a busy first quarter. We're halfway through the opening quarter in Waco. 41-yard interception for 6. 21-0 Baylor. Oh, they're dancing in Waco. 21-0 early lead by Baylor. Phil Bennett is the defensive coordinator for the Bears in his 3rd season. You know, Joey, you know about the offense. We've talked a lot about that, and we're seeing it for real right before our eyes. But to win a Big 12 title, it may have to be done defensively. This is a team that scored 60 points last year and lost the football game to West Virginia. You were covering that game there in Morgantown. And defense has always been the Achilles heel for Baylor. If you're going to win the Big 12, they just have to play average defense. And they've got the great mix of seniors like Chris McAllister, Terrence Lloyd, Eddie Lackey, and young players like Oakman that are really going to have started to play better, much better for this Baylor defense. Courtney Davis wrapped up, thrown back at the 15-yard line. Let's get a perspective from Ryan Neese.
Joe, you're absolutely right. They have been playing better, and I had a chance to watch this team last year in the bowl game against UCLA. UCLA had one of the most prolific offenses last year. They moved the ball really effectively, and Baylor came in and shut them down. They've made some changes up front with their calls, slanting guys, being a little bit more aggressive, and that's what Coach Bennett likes. It's carried over to this year. This team is playing on fire on the defensive side.
Browning, 5 wide. He's flush from the pocket, has room to run. Tucks 20, tucks 25, and a hook slide to the 27-yard line.
And that's what Colton Browning needs to do. Just move the sticks. That's what he does best. Is he throws the short routes. He gets it into the hands of his receivers, and then when things break down, he just takes off and runs.
So first down, 27-yard line. They empty out the backfield again. 5 wide receivers, 3 high, 2 low. Pressure. A loss of 3. Terrence Lloyd comes in strong and makes up for his 2nd sack of the year.
Well, you know what? That right there put Terrence Lloyd at number 10 on the all-time sack list at Baylor. And this defense, we talked about it a minute ago, has become so much more aggressive. They have the top 3 in the Big 12 in tackles for loss this year, with Sean Oakman, Sam Hall, and Avion Edwards, 1, 2, 3 in the Big 12 in tackles for loss. Very aggressive on the defensive side this year.
Lead the country 26 times. They have thrown an offensive player for a loss. 2nd down, 13. Browning again pressured, runs out of the pack, and falls back to the 28-yard line. He'll pick up 4. Time for a game break. Here's Patrick.
Hey, Craig, we talked about Lane Kiffin on that hot seat with Bo Pelini. Utah State at USC. And an Aggies touchdown. Chucky Keaton to Brandon Swindell. Well, the Aggies would certainly love to steal this one from the Trojans. Tied at 7 in the second. Craig and Joey, back to you.
Patrick, thanks. Don't fall asleep on Utah State. And keep an eye on Chucky Keaton. He may be an outside shot for a Heisman vote or 2, but he is good. Stretching, reaching. Beautiful catch. Tavares May.
Yeah, really nice throw and catch there by Colton. What Colton is going to have to do from this point forward is determine when Baylor is running cover 0 and truly bringing one more player than the offensive line can block, and when they're bluffing, because those are the 2 looks they're giving him right now. Just take a look. They're putting everybody at the line of scrimmage, and sometimes they're bringing them all, and sometimes they're backing them out. It's Colton's job to determine which is which.
Low snap. He's got room to run. Instead, he throws wide open. May, can he make it? 10-5, and he's bumped out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. Terrell Burt, the corner safety, chased him out. big play, and right now Louisiana-Monroe down 21 to right on the front porch.
Hey, that is Colton Browning right there. That is vintage Colton. When things break down, he uses his legs to get out of the pocket and keeps his eyes up and finds his guy down the field. He's a scrappy player, and he's going to have to scrap his way back in this one if they're going to get back in the ballgame.
First and goal, just inside the 10-yard line. They've had success with this empty backfield set in their 5-wide receiver line. They'll step up and throw in traffic, and well, he was taken on. Ahmad Dixon threw it right on his back to Tony Cook. Incomplete.
Hey, take a look at the play before. When things break down, Colton Browning is going to get outside. Great cut block by the offensive line to get his vision. And you know what? He just keeps playing. Play to the snap to whistle. It's not always going to be pretty today. Things are not going to be easy for Colton Browning, but he kept his eyes up and found his receiver 53 yards, putting him inside the 10-yard line here.
Second down goal. Montero Washington right alongside Browning. Browning, quick throw, wants that same pass, a comebacker. Incomplete. Trying to hug the sideline. I'll tell you, another gutsy throw.
He has to
Tony
make this
Cook.
throw. He has to make this throw, Craig, because every single time Baylor is putting 6 and 7 guys at the line of scrimmage and daring Colton to make these throws. And half the time they're bringing it, and half the time they're backing out. Colton is going to have to get together with his coach on the sideline. Use the eyes, use the coaches up in the press box to say, you know what, here's a key. Keep an eye out for this. They're giving it away. Up until now, it's been very tough to tell when Baylor is bringing the pressure and when they're dropping into coverage.
Third down goal. They put a man in motion, Rashawn Caesar. Inside the 5, rumbles Browning. Actually, they're going to mark him out at the 6-yard line. One at the 6, and I have another official at the 5. You put points on the board, Joey. Do you take a safe down 21, or do you just punch it in, or try to?
I was going to ask you the same question. You know, part of you needs to get points. You got to stop the momentum. But at this point, you're down 21, and I think you need 7 more than you need 3. I agree with this decision.
Todd Berry's made the call. Crowds up. It's 4th and goal at the 5-yard line. Down 21. Browning sets, throws up top. Incomplete the call.
I don't know, Craig. I think I heard a whistle before things went off here.
Cieno, the tight end. Here's the call.
Prior to the snap, Baylor charged a timeout. It's their first timeout of the half.
Oh.
This is a 30-second timeout.
Trying to put the freeze, Art Briles, and he does. Put him in a deep freeze. Cieno had that ball, but they call it dead as Baylor was able to get the timeout before the snap.
Yeah, that one came from the sideline there, Craig. Art Briles got in and called that timeout. I bet you wish he had that one back.
So Todd Berry will huddle up with Louisiana-Monroe. Baylor the same, as Art Briles got the timeout just in time at the 4:31 mark here in the quarter. Last week, Louisiana-Monroe beat Wake Forest 21-19. They had that opening week loss.
4 minutes, 35 seconds. 4:35.
So they pulled 4 back on the clock, but they lost to Oklahoma. They were shut out by the Sooners. They bounced back, a couple of wins, and now up against a beast in college football.
Well, that game against Oklahoma, Colton Browning got hurt, and he really wasn't the same the rest of that ball game and into the game against Grambling. He was not the guy that we were used to seeing. Last week against Wake, he got his legs back, got a little bit healthier, and was the guy who was all over the field making plays like we're used to seeing.
Here we go. 9th play of this drive to the end zone. Up high. One official says yes. One official says no. He bobbled it out of bounds. Incomplete.
This is the second time they've been in the red zone and come away with 0 points. You cannot afford to do that when you're playing against a Baylor offense that's going to score just about every time they touch the football.
There's the bobble. I tell you, one official
He had it. He had it in his hands right there. You got to make that catch.
And the line official came over, waved it incomplete. So for the second time in this quarter, Louisiana-Monroe denied on 4th down.
You cannot afford to waste those scoring opportunities if you're Louisiana-Monroe.
Baylor up 21. They'll start this drive at their own 5-yard line. The Seastrunk in the backfield. Quick throw as Petty flies. That's a tough pass, Joey, as you know. From that spot on the field to that near sideline. And it goes incomplete to Goodley.
It was almost too easy with as much space that, you know, you try to throw it all the way across. He was too wide open. It's a long throw, but he had plenty of time. It looked like he rushed it a little bit.
Seastrunk finds an opening, watch out, punches, 25, turns it on at the 30, 35, 40. And he's taken down by the pads at the 48-yard line. Rob Donovan Lewis got some help from the safety, Isaiah Newsom. It takes 2 usually to knock down Seastrunk.
Well, you wonder why he averages 9 yards a carry, because he's good for at least 2 or 3 of those a game. Chunks one off for 43 yards there. That's going to help your average a little bit.
43 yards. Petty play action. Throws, man coverage. He's beat them both. Ball's out at the 10. Corey Coleman.
Bryce Petty stands in.
Just a step behind the Warhawk coverage. How fast is this Baylor offense? It's fast.
They've got it at every position. And they've got depth, too. It's not just 1 or 2 guys that can run. Everybody on this team can run.
Second down at the 48. Petty, 2-step drop, pitch and catch. It's simple. Goodley spins close to a first down at the 42.5-yard line.
This guy is a beast, Craig.
Okay, here's the clock.
Antoine Goodley. 5'10", 220 pounds. You saw him there. How many guys it took to bring him down to the ground?
Now the clock's at 12. The clock's at 14. This is a longer play than usual. As they go up the left side, the Seastrunk knocked down by Cody Robinson. So here we go again. Clock's running. Substitution on a 4th and 2.
Well, this surprises me a little bit, Craig. You see a lot of the fast-paced spread offense teams on those 4th and short. Just get up and go. Catch them off guard.
Baylor 2 of 3 on 4th down conversions this year as they punch it off the left side. Devin Chafin just checked in, and he's going to be short, at least from our spot. He needed 3 yards, get about 2.5.
You know, we're nitpicking here a little bit, but that one surprised me a little bit. You see I said it a minute ago, you see the spread offense teams that really pride themselves on tempo. When you get into 4th and 1, 4th and 2, just get back to the line of scrimmage and run it. Just go, catch them off guard, because you only need just a quick little burst, then fall forward. When you give the defense time to jam up the middle, time to substitute, they can anchor in and really try and stop you.
Joey, so far that was in this first quarter a rare victory for Louisiana-Monroe's defense. You saw Troy Reffett, the D coordinator, applauding that effort on 4th down. And now the football belongs to Browning. 5 wide receivers again out of the pocket. Browning on the run, and the left-hander throws it away, incomplete. Let's check in. Downstairs, here's Ryan.
Hey, Joey, that was a great defensive stance by Louisiana-Monroe. They stopped them on 4th down. Early in this game, they got the wind taken out of their sails because they took a couple on their chin. But, hey, they responded. Now their offense has to take that momentum and move the ball down the field and hopefully put some points on the board. And now all of a sudden we got a ball game.
Second down 10. Jairus Edwards lines up alongside Browning. Good protection, good downfield coverage. And now Browning out of the pocket, throws, and a sliding grab made at the 43-yard line, right on the hands of Caesar. Caesar really came back to help his quarterback.
These receivers know that until they hear the whistle, this play isn't dead, because they got a guy in the pocket who's going to continue to make plays that can extend the play. Great pressure by Baylor up front. He had Oakman in the backfield, disrupting the offensive line, but Colton did a fantastic job of staying composed, stepping up in the pocket, backing out, getting out to the edge, where his receivers could then follow with him and run to the sideline and make a play.
Alec Osborne, the tight end, one of the slots near side. Again, empty backfield for Browning. Fresh downs, 42-yard line of Baylor. Quick throw. Oh my. In the hands of Terrell Burt. Goodbye. Touchdown, Baylor. $62 yards.
And that one, Craig, was not on Colton Browning. That was the right read against blitz. Watch here. Watch it right in the slot. He stops. Rashawn Caesar. He needs to continue to come in because Colton is expecting him to run. Watch. He stops. And Colton throws the ball right where he thinks he's going to be. That receiver needs to recognize blitz. Rashawn Caesar needs to run his route inside, expect the throw hot instead of trying to find a zone, which is what he did right there.
Now the PAT by Jones is up and good through nearly 9 quarters of football this season. Baylor have scored 28 points in 5 of them. They've got 28 after the second interception for a touchdown here in the quarter. Well, tonight the countdown to one of the biggest UFC events of the year will be right here on Fox Sports 1. Live preliminary fights leading up to UFC 165. Jones versus Gustafsson starts tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1. Nearly 9 quarters of football, and in 5 of them, they've scored 28 points. Joey, this offense is really amazing.
Well, it's not just offense now. That's the key for Baylor. They've got 2. They're scoring at an incredible clip on offense, but they've had 2 defensive touchdowns today, which is going to be the key for them once they start into Big 12 play. You can't give up 70 points and expect to win ball games. This offense is going to consistently put up, when you start playing better defenses like Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, they're still going to put up 30 to 40 points a ball game, and you need to be able to come up with a few stops on defense. And this has got to be very encouraging for the Baylor defensive coaches.
Baylor off in bye week. Will be in a bye week after this game. Davis. Ball's out. Ball's out. Baylor has it.
This is just going from bad to worse for ULM.
3rd turnover in this quarter. Also, they've been stopped on 2 4th down tries to keep the drive alive. And the hill is a mighty high climb right now.
You cannot afford to make these type of mistakes.
They're going to send it upstairs to the replay official, Don Capral.
Well, the ball was out. The ball was clearly out. At least from that view, we're trying to decide whether or not the ball stayed in bounds when Baylor recovered it. But watch right here. It sneaks up. There, ball. You can see the tip of the ball. That's out. Now does the ball bounce out of bounds? Close.
Is it enough, though, to overturn the ruling on the field?
Not from that view.
No, I would agree.
Not from that view. You know, if you're Louisiana-Monroe, Craig, and you're coming in trying to upset a top 25 team at home, and a team that's going to score points, you cannot afford to give up points, which they did twice on 2 drives. They moved the ball. They got inside the red zone and twice missed on 4th down, got 0 points. And then twice gave them a touchdown on an interception. Once on a poor throw by Colton, and once on a poor read by Rashawn Caesar on a blitz there. But you cannot continue to shoot yourself in the foot by fumbling the football. I mean, they've made mistakes in every area of the ball game today, and we haven't even hit the end of the first quarter.
Here's a look high above on Skycam. And again, that ball is covered up by a couple of Baylor Bears. Difficult to see if it's actually out of bounds. You know it's up right there. It's out.
After further review,
here's a
the
call.
ruling on the field is confirmed.
So up 28, Baylor will have the football at the 16-yard line of Louisiana-Monroe. And what you don't want to do is give Baylor a short field.
What you don't want to do is give Baylor the ball, period, today.
Quick throw. Did it get in? Out of bounds, 2-yard line. Reese tried to reach in with the right hand. Boy, Petty's been hot. Quick throws. It's all about, again, finding the open man in space. And these receivers, Joey, are so talented off the turn. When they make that catch, difficult to put down. Keeper. Touchdown, Petty. I would call that a saunter.
A jog?
A jog as he saw the left side closed off, and he followed the block of his tight end Monk and then just trotted in for another touchdown. So the 3 turnovers have cost Louisiana-Monroe 3 touchdowns here in the quarter. We still have 2:13 left. And it's a 35-0 ball game.
We haven't even seen Lake Seastrom today, with the exception of that 43-yarder earlier.
Now the streak continues. 5 PATs, 130 now in a row. Off the foot of Aaron Jones. 2 plays, 16 yards, just 21 seconds. You know, we talked to coaches and players about the way that this team has performed so far. Art Briles, I thought, said it best. We are hungry, but we're not satisfied.
Well, you have to be if you're this Baylor team, because they've accomplished the, let's call it the outside stuff. They've had the numbers. They had Nick Florence lead college football in total offense last year. They had a Heisman Trophy winner in Robert Griffin III 2 years ago. They've done the stuff that, you know, is kind of the cherry on top. They want the championships. They want the Big 12 championship. They want to be talked about as one of the best teams in college football. And the way that they're playing defense right now, I think you're going to have to start talking about it. You're going to have to start paying attention to these Baylor Bears. And that's exactly what Coach Briles said this team wants.
Cordy Davis set to return at his own goal line. Aaron Jones set to kick. Busy first quarter for Aaron Jones. Another good kick. One behind his back and a knee 5 yards deep. We got a flag out at the 25. And we'll get the call from our referee, Jeff Hilliard.
During the kick, you have 2 fouls on the play. Holding, 37 receiving team. Offsides at the kick, 92 kicking team. The foul's offset. We replay the down.
So we'll do it all over again. And you know what, with Griffin and the Heisman and all the hype, well, Baylor will play their final season here at Floyd Casey Stadium. Next year, they're going to move to the new Baylor Stadium, which is under construction just off campus. It's a $250 million project, a capacity of 45,000. And Joey, here's the key. It has the ability to expand out to 55,000. 6,700 of those seats belong to students.
If Baylor continues to play defense this way, they're going to need those extra seats. You know, that they're going to start winning a lot of football games if they keep playing defense like they are right now. And when you win ball games, people show up. I mean, that's the reality of of sports today is they want to come and see a winner. They want to come and be attached with a team that wins championships. And frankly, if Baylor keeps playing like this, I think there's going to be a lot of championships coming down to Waco.
Jones will do it all over again. And a replay of the last kick with a wind behind him, out of bounds. Well, we look at the scoring. Early it was 7-0, 63-yard touchdown. Goodley goes in, then Reese from 47 yards out. Back-to-back picks for 6. Joe Williams goes 41, and then Darrell Burt, a 62-yard return. And then Petty on a quarterback keeper. And there we are, 35-0 with 2:13 left in the first quarter in Waco. Warhawks trying to get something going. Good job, Terry. As Browning is flushed out of the pocket, he's been pushed and hurried all day long out of bounds. And it'll be 2nd down, 10 at the 25. Terrence Lloyd with the pressure.
Terrence Lloyd was the unblocked rusher. I mean, that's been the common theme today for the Baylor defense, is they are going to try and heat up Colton Browning, and they have frankly knocked him out of rhythm.
Joey, Browning has attempted 21 passes in this quarter alone. There's 22, and that's about a 2-yard pickup on a nice grab, but it was a comebacker by May. You can't get it all back, Joey, at once. What you have to do is chip away. And there's time on the clock. I mean, under 2 minutes. A lot of football to be played. And it's all about just putting together some drives. They've got that big hit ability themselves.
Right. You know, Craig, I've been in this position. Down big. Feel like you have to make a play right away. But the key for them, don't get out of your game. Just play the type of football you're used to.
There's that pressure again. Browning. Running, makes a nice cut, 30 at the 35, stumbles up to the 38-yard line. Terrell Burt chases him down.
What a gutsy play.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, a lot of guys are just, down 35 on the road, just cash it in. No. Colton is the type of player that's going to just lace him up and keep playing. Well, gutsy run.
Well, what you're looking at is the Sun Belt Player of the Year a year ago. That's his M.O. First down, Warhawks. High snap, Browning takes it down. Good protection now, it collapses, and again he's going to run. And with room at the 50, at the 45. Smart play. Hook slides it down to the 43. You live, and you know this, Joe. As a quarterback, you got to live to play another day.
Yeah, exactly.
Or another down, basically.
You know why that's open? Why that middle of the field is so wide open is because Baylor's been bringing that pressure and playing a man coverage behind it. When you play man coverage, you don't account for the quarterback. You're banking on getting home and sacking him and bringing pressure. But if you can break that contain, nobody accounts for the quarterback in man coverage.
Devontae McNeil alongside Browning. First down, 44. Quick throw. Right on the hands of the tight end. That's Cieno. Harley, Cieno. It's a great story, by the way. And we got a flag back at the 49-yard line.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, 93 defense. Penalties 15 yards from the end of the run, automatic first down.
That's Masumbuko, number 93, the defensive tackle. And that's going to push Louisiana-Monroe deep into Baylor territory at the 25.
That's the right call. That's the right call. You cannot hit the quarterback after he releases the football.
They've been here before. Can they find the end zone in the final seconds of the quarter? Quick throw near side. It's May, and he's inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. A 35-point first quarter for Baylor, but Louisiana-Monroe driving again. They need to find the end zone. Back to Waco after this on Fox Sports 1. Well, the story of the day, it's been the Baylor offense and their defense, but it got going early. A 63-yard bomb. It was off the hand of Petty to Antoine Goodley. And right now, 35-0 as we head into the second quarter.
You know, Craig, I think your comment there really says a lot. We're so used to saying it because of the Baylor offense, and you caught yourself. Defense has scored 2 touchdowns. You never used to see that from Baylor.
Yeah, 2 pick six. Browning, very good, flushed, throws out of bounds. You know, Joey, I want to talk about the grip of Colton Browning, because it is a very different grip. On the right will be your hand, your grip, the way you threw the ball at Oregon. And this is a no-lace toss by Colton Browning.
You know, a lot of guys now are starting to throw the ball without the laces, because in the spread offense, it's based on timing and getting the ball out of your hands quickly. And they're saying, you know what? It takes me too long to find the laces, so I need to learn to throw it without.
Good read by Browning as the blitz came, and he just threw the ball in a hurry.
That is exactly the point right there. In this offense, you have to be able to catch the ball and release it. No time at all. And that had Colton caught that ball and tried to find the laces, watch the pressure coming off the edge. He doesn't have time. He doesn't have time to spin it in his hand, find the right positioning. He's got to get it out of his hands and find his receiver. And even when he doesn't have the pressure coming, this offense is based on timing and rhythm and simply getting the ball to your hands of your receivers as quickly as possible.
And those numbers prove the grip does work. Over 10,000 total yards at ULM on a 4th down try, shut down for the 3rd time in this first half. Terrell Burt on coverage on Rashawn Caesar.
You can always look back and say what if, but that's the 3rd time that ULM has had the ball in the red zone, gone for it on 4th down, and come up with no points. You know, you can play well, those are 3 touchdowns games. You know, the game where you arbitrarily assign points. There's 3 touchdowns they missed. They gave up 2 to Baylor on interceptions. There's 35, and all of a sudden you got yourself a ball game. So you cannot afford to miss those type of opportunities.
You mentioned earlier, Seastrunk has not had to really be a factor so far in this ball game. Got a couple of touches. This time he roars out of the backfield and is slapped down at the 25-yard line to pick up 8. Hunter Kissinger, number 48, with a tackle. Ran for over 1,000 yards last year, Seastrunk. Goodley at the 35-yard line, so the chains move, fresh downs.
Hey, Craig, that looked like a pretty routine pitch and catch. But I'll tell you what, the distance between that far hash and the split of the wide receiver where Bryce Petty threw that quick hitch was massive.
They line up, they stack it too deep on both sides, and this time Louisiana-Monroe able to crush in and
watch this.
Take out Petty.
Watch all this space right in between. The ball's on the far hash, the split of the receivers all the way almost out to the sideline on the bottom of the numbers. Baylor is going to spread you vertically and horizontally.
Petty wants deep. He's got one. Tries to throw it into double coverage. There's contact made. I thought it was actually initiated by Goodley on Lindsey Pipkins, the safety, the redshirt freshman. Had a few words after that encounter. No flag. 3rd down. Petty with a quick check to the Baylor sideline. This is Baylor's 2nd, 3rd down of this first half. Petty sets his feet again. Wants a home run ball up top on the numbers. Goodley. 5-10. Breaks a tackle. Touchdown. Petty, a gutty throw in double coverage. Goodley outran the coverage. And another Baylor touchdown.
Well, you said it right there. He just outran the coverage. And Bryce Petty trusts these wide receivers completely. Watch him just run by. He splits the defenders for Louisiana-Monroe with no chance in catching up with that pure speed. And Frank, I'm going to throw it out there. I think that this tandem of wide receivers, Antoine Goodley and Tevin Reese, are the best tandem of wideouts in the country. I can't think of a better group than these two right here.
I don't think you'll get much argument.
Yeah.
Extra point, up and good. Second touchdown catch of the day, Antoine Goodley. In the first quarter, 63 yards. Here in the second, he flies 65.
Hey guys, here's what he needs to work on right there, is getting that hand up like the Heisman here if he wants to mimic what Robert Griffin did 2 years ago. I mean, that's really what the only difference right now is that hand placement, right?
Oh, yes. You know, he's thinking Heisman. I mean, this team could have a couple of potential vote getters, one being C-Strong. Goodley, 5 receptions, 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. And less than 17 minutes of football. Davis takes a left turn at the 2-yard line, out of bounds. We walked in and talked to Coach Browse yesterday, and there to greet you is Robert Griffin III. Uniform and the Heisman standing proud in the hall.
I'd be proud of it too. I mean, it is such an incredible honor to win that award.
First down, the 35-yard line.
And look, there are plenty of players on this Baylor team that can work themselves into that conversation. Lake Seastrunk said at the beginning of the year that hey, he wants to be considered.
He's been open about it.
That's right. Talk about us. You got to love that attitude. But the difference, what's going to put him into that conversation, is on the other side of the ball. Because the reality is, you have to be a top 10, top 15 team before people start paying attention all year long. And then you got to make plays. You got to make plays in November. That's when people remember.
Warhawks trying to get something started. Jairish Edwards hit straight up after a 2-yard gain. And you talk about here, Robert Rohr. Yeah, he won the Heisman in 2011. Baylor's all-time leader in pass yards, touchdowns, completions, and you know the rest of the story as he's now doing his thing in Washington, trying to come back from that wicked knee injury last year.
If there's anybody who can do it, it's him. What a great person. That's what I love the most. It's just what a great representative of the game of football. A wonderful young man, Robert Griffin.
Browning, not a keeper. Oh, he has stood up and dropped. He took a shot in the chops. That's Eddie Lackey. Will, weak side linebacker, read it perfectly. Listen to this pop.
I love what Coach told us about Eddie Lackey yesterday. He's a kid who just does not take anything for granted. Was at a small school in Michigan, and the coaches essentially told him, hey, you're too good to play here. Why don't you go somewhere else? So he went to junior college, ends up here in Baylor, and is now making an impact for this defense.
Yeah, Phil Bennett, the D coordinator, is glad to have him. Browning throws that ball out of bounds. But Lackey is just, as you said, small college to the big time. And a key component along with Hager. This linebacking core too, Joey, impressive.
They really are. Not just Lackey and Hager, but you go across the board, guys who play in that second level. Sam Hall, right now is the second in Big 12. We talked about it earlier with 2 tackles for loss of game. This linebacking core is much improved over last year.
Punts up, Levi Norwood waves for the fair catch at the 21. 43-yard punt, no return. Baylor, I'd say they're running on 16 cylinders. Oh, they're up 42-0. 11:46 to play, first half in Waco.
We're back in Waco, and guys, you guys are just giving the linebackers some love. And when you look at Lackey, when you look at Hager, these guys fly around. I got to tell you, I'm very impressed when I watch these guys play on the field. They're aggressive against the run. When they tackle a ball carrier, they knock them down right there at the point of contact. You got to love that. And then against the pass, they're able to drop back and play in space. They're very athletic, very strong. I'm very impressed with the way these guys are playing. If they continue to do this all year, this defense is going to be very impressive.
Baylor's got the football back, and they throw on a hot slant. Jay Lee with the reception, no gainer. Let's go back to Los Angeles. How about a game break? Here's Pat.
Hey, Craig, thanks. Tennessee at Florida. Mac Brown puts the Gators up 17-7 at the half. The story in this one, Gator quarterback Jeff Driscoll injured an ankle on a pick six, and he had to leave the game, will not return. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Patrick. We'll keep you updated. You'll keep us updated all day long. Got a 42-0 ball game here in Waco. And a third down call now for Petty and the Bears. Full wide receivers. Again, just a quick throw. Nothing fancy, Joey, about it. It's just man-to-man. Levi Norwood with the reception, his 4th of the season, and a first down.
Well, they've got the kind of guys who can beat any cover. That's the luxury they have. Tevin Reese, run right by you. Goodley can run by you, but he can also run through you. Like we said a minute ago, he's 5'10", 220 pounds. They've got big, strong guys. They got little, quick guys. And they've just got everything. Weapons at Bryce Petty's disposal.
Fresh down to the 32. We'll see if Seastrunk gets a few carries. As Petty checks with the sideline. Petty on play action. Throws. That ball got away. There was 2 receivers in the zone. It was Coleman near. And then up top, it was Darius Jones. This crowd beginning to quiet down a little bit after such a run of offense in that first quarter. The helmet came off, and you know what that means, Joey. And picking that ball up and running off is Bacchus, the redshirt freshman. Got to sit out of play. I'm sure that rule is going to be reviewed some at the end of this year. You agree or not?
I would agree. They changed it a little bit this year in that you can buy yourself back in with a timeout. Yeah. But there's too many things that can go wrong with it. Your quarterback's helmet comes off on the last second of the last play of the game.
Petty flushed, directing traffic, throws, and maybe a little too strong on the throw, far side. And Jones again. He's jumped on the field. And Petty's thrown a couple of balls his way, number 7.
You see the punter coming on the field for Baylor? They punt?
I do believe that is the punter, Spencer Roth.
I didn't know they had a punter.
They don't need him much. He'll punt for the first time. And Caesar's back to receive at the 22. That ball really flew off the foot of Roth, and it jumps into the end zone on a touchback. How about a 64-yard kick? Well, sometimes you got to defend. Maybe you grab a shoulder pad or two. Baylor up by 42. (42-0). Baylor on top of Louisiana-Monroe. Just under 10 minutes left in this first half. You just joined us, all Baylor and then some. 2 pick six thrown by Colton Browning. He'll go back to work, and the left-hander throws middle of the field. He's got a man. Ball flies up and hits Caesar inside the 35-yard line, and he beat Terrell Burt, the safety, and Caesar with a nice grab. Last week against Wake, he pulled down 10 passes for 84 yards in that 2-point win.
And that's the difference there between what Baylor has done versus Louisiana-Monroe's pressure and what Louisiana-Monroe has done versus Baylor's pressure. Baylor has been playing the ball deep over the top against pressure, whereas Colton Browning's been trying to chunk it away. Those type of big plays are also available when Baylor brings the pressure as well.
Well, that long pass of 45 opens up a run for Jairus Edwards, who picks up 8 and second down short. Edwards again, the ball carrier, lowers his pad to the 25, and he was running behind his right guard. Ben Reisenhoover, number 77. Again, Warhawks have moved the football. They've just given it up on 4th downs and 2 pick six.
Well, this is the 4th time they've been inside the 25-yard line here and come up with 0 points. You keep hammering that point, but you cannot afford to come away scoreless when you have that many opportunities.
Edwards alongside Browning. Again, gets the call and crashes through the front of the pile for a first down to the 23. Say Edwards, a hard runner. This time he ran behind the left guard, John Fisher. He's a 205, 210-pounder. Nearly 7 yards a carry coming into this game. And a White Castle, Louisiana. Empty backfield. Long snap count. A reset with Edwards alongside. 3 on the play clock, down to 2. He's got the snap away. And after all that, he throws behind Tony Cook. Dimitri Goodson, number 3 on coverage. Just trying to pick a spot.
Well, Craig, this Baylor defense has Louisiana-Monroe completely confused. They don't know when pressure's coming. They don't know when they're dropping out. They don't know when they should take a shot. They don't know when they need to throw it quick, throw it their hot reads against the pressure. They're just forcing them to make mistakes in every facet of their offensive game.
They had momentum. Now down inside the 30-yard line, they are doing the check with me on the sideline. Browning on a quick throw far side. Pitch and catch in the flat. It's on the hands of May, and he's pushed back at the 16-yard line. Tavares May, senior, came in with 15 receptions and a touchdown.
And he's really been the most consistent receiver.
He had 11
over the
catches, 11 grabs last week.
Yeah, absolutely. In the last 2 years, he's averaged 55 catches, 600 yards. I mean, he's just been that steady guy that Colton Browning could rely on.
Warhawks just chipping away. They look down at 3rd and about 3. Browning on a keeper, has room at the 10-yard line. He's had a couple of big runs to keep these drives alive as Lackey lays a little wood on him. And now first down at 11-yard line. This Baylor defense, remember, has only allowed 8 points a game. They have not allowed a point in the second half so far in this early part of the season. Handoff straight ahead, Edwards. He pushes the guys in green for a couple to the 9. Call it the 8-yard line.
Well, this is where Louisiana-Monroe has struggled this ballgame. They've been able to get into the red zone, but we've seen them come empty on 3 drives. The difference between competing with these teams, these top 20 teams on the road, and what you see today is being able to punch it in the end zone when you have the opportunities. This is the 4th time today that Louisiana-Monroe has been inside of the 20-yard line.
Devontae McNeil in a running back to the right of Browning. Looks left, throws up top, in traffic, and it completes the call. Tony Cook, the intended receiver.
You think with, well, I was going to say, you think with the pressure that Baylor is giving on defense, they're playing press coverage outside. They're putting their corners right up on the receivers and getting physical with them at the line of scrimmage. They've tried a couple times now to throw that high jump ball or the back shoulder throw. We saw the ball knocked away in the end zone in that start of the first quarter there earlier. It's not working. There are other things you can do against man coverage.
10th play of this drive as we roll up on the 6-minute mark. First half up top, and again, the pressure and the man coverage has been pretty impressive. Lackey came in strong with pressure and forced that throw a little early.
Well, again, he tried to throw the ball high, tries to throw it up on his receiver's back shoulder so he can go up and make a play. But the key is Baylor is bringing one more guy than Louisiana-Monroe can block. And so Colton has to get the ball out of his hands quickly. What Louisiana-Monroe needs to start thinking about is maybe running some rub routes coming across from the middle of the field. You got all these guys up in pressure. Try and pick somebody off. Get them running. That's how you separate yourself from man coverage.
0 for 3 on 4th down conversions. Back line of the end zone. Sliding catch. Touchdown. Ciano. Harley Ciano with the touchdown, his 3rd of the season, and the drought ends at the 5:52 mark for Louisiana-Monroe.
Check out the shot that Colton takes here after throwing this touchdown pass. Stays in there, delivers a strike, gets himself out of trouble in the pocket. The kid's just a gutsy football player. You got to respect a guy like that.
He's had a heavy dose of lactate today. And the PAT is up and good. And so it's 42-7. Warhawks find the end zone. 5:52 left in the first half. It's been a long day for the Warhawks, but they find the end zone. (42-7) here in Waco. Warhawk fans, well, they're in the end zone, but still not a happy day. 11 plays, 80 yards. Ciano with a 9-yard reception. What a terrific story. We mentioned this a little earlier. Wanted to get into it. Testicular cancer was the word. It runs in his family. His dad suffered through the same situation. He underwent chemotherapy last year, Joey. It's a remarkable story and an inspiration to this Louisiana-Monroe football team. So he was confident he could beat the cancer. He came to practice after losing his hair with chemotherapy. He says, I'll see you in Oklahoma. He had to watch the bowl game, though, from the sideline. And I mentioned inspiration. I tell you, he's right front and center.
Absolutely. It's interesting. He skipped a round of treatment, the same round that Lance Armstrong skipped, because he was afraid that it would hurt his lungs too much, and he had to do a little bit of extra just to get back. I mean, just a fantastic story. Ryan, you and I have both played with a guy who also had a similar situation in Josh Bidwell. You with Tampa Bay and me in Oregon. Just a fantastic story by this young man.
Got a flag out. Jeff Hillier, long conversation. Here's the call.
After the play was over, personal foul, 31 defense. Penalties 15 yards, first down.
That's a redshirt freshman, Lindsey Pickens. And there's no question on that call.
Yeah, there's just no excuse for
late
that.
hit.
He's a redshirt freshman. He's aggressive. It's his first start. But there's no excuse for that. You need to be aware at all times.
Well, against Baylor, just better field position. 50-yard line midfield on a play action. It's on a low hopper, and Rhodes digs it out for a completion at the 38-yard line. That's a pickup of 11.
And how many different names have we called for Baylor on offense? Just spreading the ball all over the place.
Many weapons. Whistle's going to blow the play dead. Well, you got Goodley, you got Reese, you got Clay Fuller, Levi Norwood, Linwood, who we haven't heard much from. Seastrunk, Jay Lee.
The ball never was ready for play.
Well, the ball wasn't whistled for play. They had to move the chains, Joey, far sideline. Now we reset and replay the down from the 38. There's that hopper. Jay Lee, one bounce. Incomplete. Well, Baylor's offense has been the storyline so far. 6 possessions today, 26 plays, 4 touchdowns. They've run it back twice on pick 6. Joe Williams and Terrell Burt, pardon me. And it's 42-7. We've got a flag out at the 38-yard line. We just had a touchdown. Ran in by Louisiana-Monroe.
Start, 71 offense. Penalties 5 yards, 2nd down.
Hey, Craig, for as great as Baylor has been, and we're starting to nitpick a little bit here, they seem a little bit out of rhythm. Bryce Petty's rushed a couple throws, 2 balls now in a row. One that was scooped up nicely for a catch, the second one that bounced to the receivers.
Seastrunk off the right side.
Well, when you get up so big, yeah, that's what I was going to say. When you get up so big, you start to lose your focus. You lose the importance of every single play. But as they start to get into Big 12 play and play against teams that's what Coach Bryles said is, we really haven't been tested. We haven't been forced to make plays late in the game. And they're going to have to learn how to keep their focus throughout the entire ballgame and not ever get complacent.
3rd down. Petty on a quarterback keeper. Just enough for a 1st down. Move the chains at the 28-yard line. Let's get a thought from Ryan Neese.
Joe, you made a great point. They were able to get a 1st down right there, but you can feel somewhat of a low here in the offense. They got to keep their focus. They got to continue to keep their foot on the gas. That's what makes this offense so impressive. And guess what? This is situational football. They're also preparing for the games down the road. So all these players got to continue to work, continue to perfect their craft, and they do that with each snap.
Well, Ryan, as you spoke, Seastrunk picked up about a yard, and they're ready to play football again. It's that quick on a high catch by Jay Lee. Breaks a tackle past the 25-yard line. Clock's under 4.5 minutes in this 1st half. Mitch Lane made the stop. That brings up 3rd down. I think complacency could be a problem when you beat teams like Wolford 69-3, Buffalo 70-13. You're up 42-7. Tough catch. Touchdown, Baylor. There's focus. Clay Fuller climbed the ladder, laid on his back, and caught the football.
We mentioned it just a minute ago. Weapons everywhere. Touchdowns from Goodley, Reese, catches with Fuller, Seastrunk, Petty running the football. Fuller with the touchdown here. Everywhere you go, you've got weapons for Baylor, and they have the ability and the confidence in these guys. That's the impressive thing. It's not just focusing on Antoine Goodley or Tevin Reese and getting them the ball every time. It's who is open by the defense, by the dictation of the defense. The defense is going to tell you who they're leaving open, and Bryce Petty has the confidence to throw it to any one of them.
Clay Fuller's 1st reception of the season, and it's a touchdown. And that makes it 49-7. Under 4 minutes left in the 1st half. 8 plays, they go 75 yards. And again, under 2-minute drive. And the 23-yard reception by Fuller for 6.
Well, this is the difference in Baylor's offensive efficiency today and the lack of production from Louisiana-Monroe. Those are the catches that Louisiana-Monroe has not made in the red zone. We've seen it 3 or 4 times. We saw it on 4th down in the end zone in the 1st quarter. We saw it on a couple attempts prior to the touchdown a moment ago. Those are the catches that the Warhawks aren't making, but the ones that Baylor's receivers are making. They're going up and high pointing the ball and just snatching it out of midair.
I was just thinking, looking back to last year's game in Monroe, it was so important for the Warhawks how they stayed in the ball game, Joey. They struck first. They scored 2 touchdowns. Confidence was at a premium, and then all of a sudden it became a shootout. Over 1,100 yards of total offense, and today it's just been totally lopsided.
Oh, yeah, a completely different game last year. 47-42 being the final eventually for Baylor, but it was a fight. I'll tell you what, it's tough to go into those smaller schools' homes.
Yes.
We played at Utah State my senior year, and we were number 6 in the country, and we came in to a program that was really trying to make a statement, to get themselves on the map. We were the highest ranked team to ever come in there, and it was a tough place to play. Louisiana-Monroe has to learn how to play without that momentum, that home crowd behind them, and still put on a good performance.
Good field position.
Hey, Greg, we talked about the number of different guys for this Baylor team. Here, how about Shock Linwood? If we had a 4x1 team, I want him running the first turn because he's a running back, taking that corner. Then I'm going to Antoine Goodley on the backstretch for the speed. Lake Seastrunk anchoring that final curve, and then Tevin Reese handing it off for the home stretch coming home. The funny thing, we haven't even seen Shock Linwood.
No.
This is how deep this Baylor team is we haven't even seen all the talented players. Shock Linwood, Glasgow Martin, the second leading rusher from a year ago. These guys go 2 and 3 deep in every position.
Pressure. Browning has to eat it. Guess who? Lackey has been sitting in his back pocket along with Terrence Lloyd and Sean Oakman for most of this first half. That's a breakaway. Does he have the baton? No, that's a football in his hand. No baton.
Yeah, no one tries to attack you on the 4x1. Maybe they should put that in the next Olympics.
Quick throw on the hands and on the sideline is Kinsey Jackson. And out of bounds. They're going to wave him out 33-yard line. Kind of a relaxing day for now. Seastrunk.
It's third down.
I was thinking Nice may be on that 4x100 the way he was running with the freshman Baylor line.
Well, I tell you what, I think Ryan still got it. I was impressed. Ryan, we got to give you a little credit here. I didn't think you could hang with those young bucks, but you still laced him up and took off. I'm impressed.
Yeah, he took the field with those freshmen today as we kicked off this game, and he still got the wheels.
That looked like the guy I used to play against at UCLA.
High snap taken down by Browning. Again, the pocket collapse. Yep, flags out. You could tell his head was pulled straight down. It was Andrew Billings, the freshman right here from Waco, in Waco High School. 310-pound freshman, true freshman.
Personal foul, face mask, 75 defense. Penalties 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
There's Nice, Ryan, as we're watching you. You know what? You got the baton.
Speed. He hawked him. I mean, he was behind a few steps, made up the ground there.
He had the Fox mic in his hand, and he was running free.
If he on stick, there was no one to give it to.
Warhawks with an empty backfield. Browning, shotgun. And the flag's out. Ryan, you didn't pull a hamstring, did you?
No, I didn't pull a hamstring.
27 offense. Penalties 5 yards, first down.
Greg, I didn't pull a hamstring. You know, that's a competitive nature in me now. I had to try to find a way to come back. I saw that guy get out on me a little bit early, but I had to keep running, keep my focus, maintain my stride, and allowed me to get back out in front. That wasn't an easy run. Trust me, I broke a sweat.
Well, you're the only ones in cufflinks that's doing it. I mean,
I made it look good, Joe. I made it look good.
Browning, ball's out. Louisiana-Monroe retains
Look at this right
possession.
Right here. Look at those things. They're shining even when he's running. God. Ryan, you're looking good even when you're running fast. That's tough to do.
Well, Joey, I follow your lead. You're all about style. See, you always cleaned up, looking sharp. I had to try to follow your lead when I'm on camera, make my mom proud, of course.
Quick throw, middle of the field. Browning. Rashawn Caesar at the 47-yard line.
Yeah, Craig, I don't think it's just his mom that's proud.
No.
His dad, Ronnie Lott.
I think is very proud to see
absolutely
the
proud
son
of the way he
still
played.
pedaling hard on the football field.
You bet.
Third down, 11. Under a minute and a half to play in the first half. And a 49-7 ball game led by Baylor. Quick throw. Incomplete. Coming up, it's the Pizza Hut halftime report. Here's Rob Stone with a preview.
Coming up on the Pizza Hut halftime show, no Braxton Miller for Ohio State, no problem. No Jeff Driscoll in Gainesville, maybe big problems for the Gators. And the Spartans, they take on Notre Dame. All the highlights coming up at the break.
All right, thank you, Rob. We'll be checking in just a minute or two. Louisiana-Monroe forced to punt, low snap handle, and it's punted away. Takes a bounce inside the 5, and they'll be down for a touchback. So a minute left to play in this first half as we look here. Beautiful shot, Waco, Texas. And a 49-7 ball game. Yesterday, those clouds, that sky was gray, black, and green, and rain aplenty.
We almost didn't make it in.
They needed the rain down here in Central Texas. Baylor, now they're going to run. And Seastrunk breaks one tackle. That's the strength of number 25, as he looked like he was pulled back or down to the 20-yard line, and he breaks it for 10.
But I'd expect to see a lot more of Lake Seastrunk shock Linwood as this game goes on, running the clock, working on the things that they need to work on. They've shown they can throw the ball. Now let's get that thing on the ground.
Petty on a play action, throws over the middle, pitch and catch right on the hands of Corey Coleman.
Did I say they were going to run the ball? I meant throw it.
I don't know if that's in Art Briles' vocabulary. He mixes it well, but loves to throw the football. On a rollout, Petty. He'll throw and throws it away. Into the Warhawk bench. That stops the clock. 39 ticks left on the first half clock. Petty's the package. 6'3", 230, mobile, strong arm.
Well, we talked about practicing situations earlier in a game like this. Here's a great 2-minute opportunity. 39 seconds. Let's see if we can go down and get a score before halftime, because there's going to come a point.
Timeout, ULM, their first time out of the half.
There's going to come a point
30-second timeout
in the Big 12 season where you're going to have to drive the field with under a minute left. Use this game experience to make your team better, so that when it happens later on in the season, it's not the first time you've seen it.
ULM will call the timeout. Here are some of the headline stories that we'll be talking about at halftime. Well, Guyton, 215 yards. Joey, 6 touchdowns in the win against Florida A&M. Aaron Murray, he puts it up 30 times, 408 yards. Teddy Bridgewater, 4 touchdowns, 212 yards. I mean, in week 4, there's been some, I'll tell you, the bottom line, the word is gaudy. There are some gaudy numbers being put up in college football.
I don't know what it is. It's not a lack of defense. I mean, guys are still playing defense. It's just that offenses are getting so incredibly efficient.
Can't play with 10, can you, big man?
Petty back to work. Wants to throw, he tucks and runs. Oh, he took a shot, 45-yard line. Took on a couple of linebackers. Ray Stovall was there. Petty goes quickly back to work. Wants a home run ball up top, coming back for it, flags out. Catch is made. Tevin Reese put a flag back at the 9-yard line.
Craig, I think this is going to be PI on Louisiana-Monroe here. As Tevin Reese came back to the football, it's so tough for a DB to play that.
Pass interference, 16 offense. Penalty 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
So we'll see the replay. Looks like Tevin Reese may have tugged the jersey right there as he tried to plant his feet to come back.
Yeah, that's a good call. So often you see that receiver stop for a ball, and it's the DB that runs into him. That's why you see so many quarterbacks throwing jump balls, because what's the worst that can happen? Incomplete, touchdown, pass interference, or an interception. Three of those four are pretty good options. But there, Tevin Reese just gets a little too aggressive with his hands and pushes the defender by.
Final seconds of this wide open first half for Baylor. They hit it up the middle of Seastrunk. They'll run it up to the 48-yard line, and we have reached halftime here in Waco. Domination. Baylor 49, Louisiana-Monroe 7. We now take you to Rob Stone, Coy Wire, and Petros Papadakis in L.A. for the Pizza Hut halftime report. Welcome back to Waco, Texas. Fox College Football presented by Geico. And at halftime here, Baylor has dominated half number 1, 49-7 over the University of Louisiana-Monroe. Craig Bolerjack back with Joey Harrington. Not a lot to be said. Baylor, if you're a Baylor fan, you've got to be excited. We've seen speed. We've seen big play after big play, not only on the offensive side, defensive side as well.
Well, it's come from everywhere. It's come from running backs on Seastrunk's big 43-yard run. It's come from wideouts, Goodley, Reese. But it all has to do with just flat-out speed everywhere for this Baylor team. Watch, they've done it in every way possible. They simply run right by you. And Antoine Goodley, the guy that you don't think, he's the bigger of the wide receivers. Tevin Reese running by people. Joe Williams taking the pick 6. Baylor has just flat-out run by teams in the first half. And again, Goodley giving a little Heisman move there, pushing guys off.
Well, you look at the first half stats, domination, 430 yards of total offense in a half. ULM with 280, but yet points have been difficult to find. They've been in the red zone. They failed to convert on 4th downs. They were picked twice for touchdowns, as you mentioned. And right now it is 49-7, and that's where we'll pick it up as we start the third. Baylor will have the football. And Petty had quite a half, mind you. 17 of 25, 4 touchdowns. He hit 7 different receivers. And coming into this game, he had 5 career touchdown throws, 4, as I mentioned, in half number 1.
Well, at one point, he was 9 for 12 for 3 touchdowns. Every third time he threw the football was a touchdown. And it looks like he's going to try it right again right there. There's no let up in this Baylor offense.
You know, I was going to ask what you think the philosophy of Art Briles will be, because, again, the score is lopsided, but yet as you start a half, do you not still come back, Joey, from your experience and just continue to run game plan?
Well, I think you've seen a shift in philosophy and in a lot, I won't call it a younger generation of coaches, but you saw maybe the compassion. You know, you wouldn't see Tom Osborne run the score up like Lake Seastrunk is about to do right here.
Can you say goodbye? Second play, bang, touchdown, Baylor.
To finish the thought, you just got to run your offense. And at a certain point, you say, you know what? Both of these teams have scholarship players, and one of them, sometimes you just got to make a play. If you don't want the score to be run up, then stop us. And that's what the philosophy of Baylor is. We're just going to continue to run our offense, and if you don't want it to get lopsided, well, then you know what? You better make a defensive stop.
75 yards. Seastrunk now 10 carries for 157. That's nearly 16 yards a touch for Lake Seastrunk. Aaron Jones, that leg can have to be iced down by Knight's End as he punches in another PAT. Well, we asked the question, and you know what? Art Briles answered it for us, as you mentioned.
Yeah. And they do it in so many ways. Watch Seastrunk with the speed to get outside, and then just flat out runs away from people. You know, we've heard so much about Lake Seastrunk at the start of this year that we just assumed he's been around for a while. But remember, he didn't come on for Baylor until about week 7 through 7 games last year. In the first 7 games, he only had 181 yards total. In the last 6 games for Baylor last year, he averaged nearly 140 a game and had 6 touchdowns. He has come on as of late, and then you include the first 3 of this year where he's been over 100 each game.
He transferred out of Oregon, and when asked from the Ducks why wasn't Seastrunk still a Duck, basically maybe he ran out of patience because of this type of talent. He wanted to get on the football field.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of different things. He's got family here in Texas. You know, he said he wanted to play closer to his family, which is a very understandable thing to do. You know, no matter how you look at it, whether he wanted to be close to family or he simply thought he was good enough to be playing right away, it's a fantastic story by a young man who is a terrific talent in college football. Remember, when he went to Oregon, he was behind LaMichael James and Kenyon Barner. LaMichael, who, had he stayed for his senior year, would have easily broken the all-time rushing record held by Ron Dane. And then Kenyon Barner, you saw what he did last year, going over 1,500 yards. There was just so much talent that it was hard for him to get on the field.
Ticks away a little short at the 7-yard line. Courtney Davis hits the edge. Well, his head spun around at the 25-yard line. He's out of bounds, and that's where Louisiana-Monroe will start their first drive of this third quarter. You know who he is, right? Duck Dynasty. What a show that is. Popular. I think one of the most popular television shows in the country. They're from Monroe.
Am I missing something? Apparently,
it's all about duck calls.
Yeah, 2 little kids. I should be watching this. It's a duck show, right? Apparently, with 2 kids, I don't get around to watching too much of it. Are they on Sesame Street?
No. It limits your channel surfing, doesn't it? Guys who own the Duck Commander Company featured on the reality show Duck Dynasty. They're based in Monroe. With ULM coming to town, the official Baylor football Twitter feed tweeted out their own Bear Dynasty photo on Wednesday. I'd say that's pretty clever.
It's got a point.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of spot on. Robert Griffin III obviously won the Heisman 2 years ago. Last year, people didn't realize, I think he really went under the radar, Nick Florence, what a fantastic season he had, leading all of college football in total offense. And now Bryce Petty steps in and coming into this game had completed 80% of his passes for 4 touchdowns and was leading college football in passing efficiency. I mean, they've got a dynasty of quarterbacks going here.
Good point. Jairus Edwards carried the football to the 31-yard line. That brings up 3rd down, call it 4. Backfield empty. Browning's been under heat all day from Lloyd, Oakman, Lackey. Quick throw over the middle, balls through the hands, incomplete. Rashawn Caesar was the intended receiver. And we got a player down. It's number 68, the center, Colby Mitchell. Backs up Josh Allen. So the trainers are out. We'll step aside. 56-7 Baylor. Colby Mitchell able to get off the field with the help of a couple of teammates. They're looking down at that left ankle, left foot. He's grimaced a few times. So 4th down will force Louisiana-Monroe to punt. Back inside the 20-yard line. Norwood back to receive. The sun in his eyes, and he takes a shot at the 20-yard line and is tossed down of bounds. Back at the 19. Time for a Lowe's Never Stop Improving game break. Here's Patrick O'Neill with an update on Notre Dame, Michigan State. Patrick.
All right, Craig, thanks very much. The Irish going to take the lead on the Spartans. Cam McDaniel, 7 yards. Well, that was easy. Untouched, 17-10 in the 4th quarter. Notre Dame going for their 10th straight victory at home. Craig and Joey, back to you.
Now a little Notre Dame magic back at home. As you heard Patrick going for the 10th straight.
Interesting to see him do it without Golston. I'm going back to Tommy Reese at quarterback there.
Petty nearly lost that ball on the snap on the give back, and he's down at the 22-yard line. Now you have to wonder if we'll see Seth Russell, the redshirt freshman out of Garland, Texas, at quarterback before the day's out.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that we will.
A Up the middle. Shock. Linwood just shocked his crowd a little bit. Haven't heard from him, haven't seen him. The redshirt freshman out of Linden, Texas, knocked down by Isaiah Newsom.
We mentioned him earlier as the first leg of the 4x1, and you saw why. Just hit that hole and just pure speed right through the middle.
The depth of Baylor is impressive. Petty looks one way, goes the other. Ball's on the hands. It's like playground football. Kevin Reese at the 15-yard line. I'm gonna go back and bet you we see Petty at least for this third quarter, because this team has not played that much football together. They need snaps.
That's a good point. I mean, they've been out against Wofford and Buffalo very early in the ball game, and that's a good point. Reps for this team.
Linwood, right side, inside the 10-yard line. Shock came in averaging over 6 yards a touch. Seastrunk over 9 yards. Glasgow Martin over 4 yards a carry. So this is a deep backfield for Baylor. Rides the pile inside, and Linwood pushes his way in. Touchdown, Baylor. Seastrunk scored on the last series. Now Linwood comes in. Gets a couple of touches, and Baylor finds the end zone for 6 more.
It really doesn't matter who's in the backfield. It doesn't matter who's split out wide.
Another player down for the Warhawks. Linwood 3 carries, 50 yards on that drive. That's Emmanuel Jeffries, number 18. Looks like he got rolled up a little bit from the backside. Senior out of Jackson, Mississippi. Let's check in downstairs. Here's Ryan Neese.
Craig and Joey, we've focused so much on the skilled position players, the quarterback, the wide receiver, the running backs. They've all been very impressive in this game, but I promise you, in that last play, that was the offensive line. Those guys were physical. This offensive line is starting to come together. They're starting to show their dominance. And I tell you, if they continue to be this aggressive and continue to open these holes for the running back, this is going to be a long, long game. And moving forward, this offense is just really impressive. And the offensive line is the anchor to the whole thing.
Yeah, great point. Jeffers is up with some help again from the teammates.
Ryan, you hit it on the head there. We haven't even talked about the offensive line. That left side of the offensive line for Baylor. Cyril Richardson, an All-American last year, Big 12 Lineman of the Year a year ago. Spencer Drango, a freshman All-American last year.
Stephon Huber.
I mean, they've got some horses up front who've played together for a while.
There's Seth Russell. You got to loosen before you can get on the field. He's thrown for 213 yards, a couple of touchdowns so far this year. He can carry the ball as well. And now Aaron Jones is set to try another PAT. Kicks up, splits the uprights. 62-7 Baylor. It's been all Bears. What a day in Waco.
Ryan, you're a kind guy. You're always wanting to spread the love around. You know what? You know where the love needs to go? Right there. Big Cyril Richardson. This offensive line is anchored by him. And you know what? All these speed guys on the outside get all the credit. It's never the linemen who get the love. This guy has been all conference twice now in the Big 12. He started all of 2011 at left tackle, moved into left guard, and has become the rock for this offensive line that has protected every quarterback, it seems like, the last 4 seasons for Baylor. This guy is a phenomenal offensive lineman, an All-American last year, like we mentioned. This offensive line can really dominate a football game, and they'll need him to dominate the football game as we start to move into Big 12 play.
Well, Cyril Richardson is a mountain of a man, 6'4", 340 out of Fort Worth. I think that next level is just around the corner. In fact, we know it. No return for the Warhawks is Kyle Peterson on a kick.
Joe, you made a great point about Richardson, but I tell you, the entire line, what impresses me is their ability to pick up blocks. And when guys are coming up to blitz, they faced a lot of pressure. But I tell you, they've done a great job identifying the blitzers and at the same time opening up holes in the run game. They're aggressive. They run their feet. They use their hands well. You haven't seen any penalties. These guys are working together like a fine, well-oiled machine. I tell you, I get excited watching them.
Well, right now, Louisiana-Monroe playing for respect, as they're going to have to work just to get the football downfield as Rashawn Caesar is knocked down at the 30-yard line. Hager got a hand on him.
You know, I love his play, but you know what? Right there, look at that smile. Just seems like a happy young guy, happy to knock somebody on their back. You gotta love an O-lineman who can knock someone in the face and then just smile about it.
I'd be smiling if my offense put 63 on the board. Now, timeout called by Todd Berry.
Timeout, ULM. Their first timeout.
So ULM will burn their first time out of the second half. We'll step aside. It's Baylor, and Waco.
My name is Mamadou Dieng from Senegal, West Africa. Never thought I would be a football fan when I first got here, but now, you know, it's just something that I look forward to during the week, you know, love Baylor football. And I'm very, very, very thankful to be in this city. Sick Bears!
There he is, and he's in the stands today, the 7-foot 1-inch Mamadou Dieng, former Baylor basketball player, and he is a super fan. How about that? He's turned himself into a football fan. Browning, been pressured all day, throws that ball smartly away. Palmer, the left end, with the pressure.
I think Mamadou's kind of glad the crowd is thinned out a little bit so
room.
He can stretch out.
Yeah, he's got plenty of room.
How about putting him on at tight end? You know, you put a little weight on him, put him in the weight room. Be a nice little red zone target for you.
Maybe he could be a twin right in with Oakman, who's 6'9". You go 6'9", 7'1". High snap taken down by Browning. Quick throw over the middle, and what a pressure. One of the big keys today. Pressure on Browning all day. There's Oakman, who's 6'9". So Oakman is a small man compared to Mamadou.
Yeah, Oakman, Lloyd, they got pressure on Colton Browning from the opening kick. And they took him really out of the game and frankly confused him. I mean, you could see him get a little bit rattled, trying to tell whether or not they were bringing pressure or they faking it and dropping out. And he and his receivers were just never on the same page. It resulted in an interception for a touchdown there in the first quarter.
Norwood waves for the fair catch at the 25-yard line. Tonight, the countdown to one of the biggest UFC events of the year will be right here on Fox Sports 1. Live preliminary fights leading up to UFC 165. Jones versus Gustafsson starts tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, only right here on Fox Sports 1. And now the quarterback change has happened. Petty's done for the day. And we'll see Seth Russell, redshirt freshman out of Garland, Texas. Shock Linwood gets the carry. So I'm sure Seastrunk's done. And Petty. Let me ask, Art Briles wants to try to accomplish from this point on?
Consistency. You know, you want to see your reserves come in and do the same things that your starters did.
Oh, what a pick. Isaiah Newsom. Anyone who's played that high school football, when you yell out Oski and the ball's up on the tip drill, that's what paid off right there. As the pressure came from Caldwell, the ball was up and Newsom pulled in the football and an interception.
You know, earlier in the game, that's a ball that the receiver would have stopped, gone up, and tried to high point. I think Jay Lee just expected that ball to continue going. He's thrown into the wind a little bit. We saw it earlier in the first quarter when Colton Browning was going that direction and underthrew the first pass of the game. But you got to give your quarterback a chance. And if you can't make the catch, go up and break it up.
Brayley Brown is in now for Colton Browning. And he throws a far side over to Caesar. So both teams have flipped quarterbacks. Now Brown on the field for Browning. Brayley's a sophomore out of Shawnee, Oklahoma. He did play 5 games last year in his redshirt freshman season. A pickup of 1, second down 9. Got the 4 wide receiver package. Edwards, the ball carrier. You notice he went from right side to left on the lineup and then tried to crash off the right side, and he picks up maybe a yard. Call it 2.
It's third down.
Now Browning's on the headset. How about 41 pass attempts, complete 17, 219 yards. A touchdown, a couple of picks that Baylor turned into touchdowns.
Not the day that Colton was hoping to have. Definitely not the day he had last week when he went 43 for 68.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns, 315 yards in the win against the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. Brown throws. That ball is up and nearly intercepted. Bryce Hager tipped that pass. He's got good speed for a middle linebacker. He's been clocked at 4.5 in the 40.
Well, both those guys, Eddie Lackey and Bryce Hager, both move very well sideline to sideline. And that's, you know, some defenses are built, some teams are built for power. The Stanfords, the Alabamas. This team, offense and defense, is built for speed. And you got to be able to cover the entire field sideline to sideline.
Norwood inside his 10-yard line on a punch kick. And this one's going to go to the end zone on a touchback. Well, Baylor's going to be a favorite for the Big 12. Oklahoma, you got to throw in that mix as well. And also the Cowboys of O-State.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting conference this year. Nobody really jumping out and grabbing the favorite position from the start. But Oklahoma State is kind of the consensus coming in. J.W. Walsh returning after a battle last year for the quarterback position. Has Jeremy Smith back at running back. But you know what? The difference between Oklahoma State 2 years ago when they were in the BCS and last year was defense. They led all of college football 2 years ago with 44 takeaways. Last year, half that, 22, and they were middle of the pack, 5th in the Big 12 in turnovers created. That's what we've talked about with Baylor. They need to have that defensive play if they're going to get up to the top of the conference.
The ball falls incomplete. We didn't mention Kansas State, the reigning Big 12 champion. Gone is Colin Klein. Gone is Arthur Brown. And we saw them in week 1. North Dakota State rolled into Manhattan and pulled off a big upset. But you know what? Leadership was a big key in week 1.
Well, yeah, gone was their leadership. That was the key. When things got tight there at the end, you were looking for somebody to step into the shoes of Arthur Brown or step into the shoes of Colin and be that emotional leader, the guy who rallied the troops. And Kansas State was missing that very early this year. Oklahoma, another team that could be missing that. Landry Jones, a starter for so long for the Sooners. Now they've got a little bit of a quarterback controversy with Blake Bell and Trevor Knight trying to battle for that job.
Darius Jones was the intended receiver. He's got some breakaway speed. There was a flag out. Looked like a little jump on the right side of Louisiana-Monroe.
Offsides, 90 defense. Penalties 5 yards. Repeat third down.
That's Ray Stovall, linebacker who stands up as an end.
Well, smart play by Seth Russell. Knowing you got a guy offsides, you get a free play, take a shot down the field. There's nothing bad that can come from that. I like the awareness by the young quarterback.
On a keeper, Russell jumps through that Warhawk defensive front and gains a first down at the 32-yard line. Robinson, Cody Robinson with the tackle. To Seth Russell, big frame, and you know he's going to get a little bigger in the weight room. 6'3", 205.
It's just good to get experience at this point in their career.
Linwood falls forward to the 35.
You know, Craig, the more often you can play as a young quarterback, the more you can just log hours under center. the more you can rely on that experience down the road.
How about that throw? Up top, on the hands. Levi Norwood, touchdown.
It doesn't matter who's under center, who's in the backfield, who's split out wide. This is a machine, Craig. This is an absolute offensive machine.
That may be the best throw of any quarterback today.
Without a doubt.
Russell lobbed it, timed it, put it right on the hands of Levi Norwood.
He didn't have to open his eyes. Just run with your arms stretched out. I'm going to drop it right on your fingertips. Perfect throw by Seth Russell.
Well, scoring the story so far in this 2013 season for Baylor. They scored 69 against Wofford in week 1. They scored 70 against Buffalo. After the bye week, they've roared back with 70 today, under 8 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Well, if you come to Waco, Katie's Custard is a must. We made a little drop-by last night, I got to be honest. The Vortex, the Cyclone, got the little brownie with the hot fudge. And, Joey, I know that you have been unable really to put down Katie's Custard since we came to town. And I think, yeah. And look what he's got in his hands right now.
Where we go? Where are we going? Over here?
Yeah.
There we go.
What'd you get?
Well, all I had was vanilla. They had a little chocolate. I'm not, I should say, I'm not a big chocolate custard fan or a vanilla kind of guy.
Well, you got some vanilla, but mostly vanilla.
Mostly vanilla. Got a little chocolate in there. Got to mix it up. Step out of your comfort zone, right?
You know, you talked about Oklahoma State. We talked K-State. As you continue to, can you take a minute to talk Oklahoma?
What?
I mean, you know the Sooners.
What are we talking
and
about?
Coach Stoop, they're in the national picture. You would agree.
Katie's Custard, what? Oklahoma in the national picture. Hold on. The key for Oklahoma is quarterback. It really is. Blake Bell and Trevor Knight, they got to figure out what's going on. Trevor Knight was the guy coming out of camp, the freshman that they, some would say, unexpectedly gave the job to. Blake Bell was the incumbent, the belldozer, the guy who they gave it to in the red zone. Everybody expected him to be the job, or be the guy coming out. Maybe Blake Bell expected himself to be the guy.
Well, they're 14th ranked, Joey, as you know, and here's probably the biggest test in this early part of the season. It comes next week against Notre Dame.
That's right. And I'm curious to see who's going to be under center for him, because Blake had a great day last week filling in for the freshman Trevor Knight. And I think, frankly, he got a little bit of a controversy on the hands. Coach Stoops is going to have to make a decision on who the guy is. Does he stick with the young freshman who he gave the nod coming out of camp, or do you go with the proven guy who's got more experience?
Well, Oklahoma will have to play Baylor here in Waco on November 7th. So fans will have to wait a while to see the Sooners in town. 70 points today, ties the school record. They had 70, as I mentioned, in week 2 against Buffalo. Week 1, they opened up against Wofford with 69.
Sorry, I was into the custard again.
I know you were.
What were we talking about?
You know, but you look at all the offensive stats for Baylor. I mean, they're in the top 5 in most categories in college football. #1 in scoring and total offense. And they poured it on again today. Pressure. And you know what? We talked about the defense and the importance that it's going to play in the run of the Pac or the Big 12. And they played well today. Granted, haven't really been tested at this point, but they are very active.
Well, that's the key. They're active. Tackles for loss has been the big number that jumps out for Baylor this year. They've got the top 3 guys in the Big 12 in tackles for loss. Sean Oakman, we talked to the big DN, 6'9", 270 pounds. Leads all of college football with just under 3 tackles for loss per game. And then second in the Big 12 is Sam Hull with 2 tackles for loss a game. Third is Avion Edwards. I mean, they have the depth on defense.
Big punt, no return. The win behind the kick of 77 yards. We talked about Kansas State, the rematch. That's in October in Manhattan, Kansas. But really things get nasty in November. Oklahoma at home. You got Texas Tech in Arlington. And then it's Oklahoma State on the 23rd, just before Thanksgiving, down in Stillwater.
Yeah,
or I should say north into Stillwater.
Be a tough test at the end of the season for Baylor. You know, we talked about the Heisman Trophy a little while ago, and Lake C. Strunk wanting to be in the discussion for the Heisman. Well, you know what? That happens in November. People remember what happens in November. That's when you win championships, and that's when you win trophies, is those memorable plays in November. And when you do it against Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, at the end of the season, people are going to remember it.
Number 80, Spangler, who's about 5 deep on the wide receiver chart. And there's a flag out 21-yard line near side.
Holding, 81 offense. Penalty is 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
Well, I was told that Rhett Butler would play today, and he is the 3rd string tight end. Jordan Niver's out with a back injury. But Rhett Butler, yes, it's true. Gone with the Wind. His parents, big fans, and also they named his sister Tara. Yes.
You're dating yourself, Craig.
Quick throw, Rhodes, true freshman. Knocked down at the 24-yard line. Say the depth of this Baylor team. You're seeing it right now.
It's at every position.
Second down.
Goodley and Reese, like I said earlier, in my opinion, are the best tandem of wideouts in the country. But we've seen Robert Rhodes, we've seen Jay Lee, we've seen Clay Fuller. Lake C. Strunk is probably going to be a Heisman candidate. But we've got Glasgow Mark behind him, who hasn't even seen the field today. Shock Linwood, who's been a huge addition. I mean, the depth on this Baylor team is really scary.
Chafin, the ball carrier, hits the side. Ran by a blocker. Trying to seal the edge, and they did. Down to the 36, call it the 37-yard line. There's Lake C. Strunk. He came in averaging, Joey, nearly 131 yards on 14 carries. Today, he has just eaten up Louisiana-Monroe. This season now 418 yards. That's 11 yards per touch.
Well, he upped his yards per carry out from 9 to 11. The only guy I can think of, and here's the discussion point for you. You want to go back? I think what may be the greatest backfield in college football history is at Notre Dame, 1992, I believe. Rick Meyer at quarterback, Jerome Bettis at fullback, and you had a guy at tailback, Reggie Brooks, who averaged 9 yards a carry for the entire season. I'm going to be interested to see if Lake can continue to put up those types of numbers, because very rarely has that been done.
Warhawk shows blitz, and then Russell looks to the sideline. Clock as it comes up on 4 minutes left in this 3rd quarter. Hand off to Chafin. Breaks a tackle, makes a nice move, spins out of another. You know what? Seth Russell sold me big. Chafin had that ball in his belly, and then Russell took it out, and that kid put on a show on that run.
Are we seeing the next generation in the Bear dynasty?
Wow.
Griffin, Florence, Petty, Russell.
No, we talked about the total package, and you just saw his run ability. Another first down, 39-yard line. 713 total yards thus far. Not even through 3 quarters.
You go a lot of games where both teams don't put up 700 yards.
Quick throw near side. On the catch is Robbie Rose. You've got a redshirt freshman working with a true freshman. I mean, this is the depth, the youth of Baylor right here in front of you. He's out of Fort Worth Southwest High School. Another glance to the sideline. Philip Montgomery, the offensive coordinator for Baylor. Russell throws on a slant. Oh, it's bobbled and caught at the 22-yard line. Beautiful catch by Jay Lee. How about a game break? Here's Patrick O'Neill.
This matchup may be one of those types of games. FCS, Bethune-Cookman at number 8, Florida State. Quentin Williams, a lot of time, but he's picked off by Telvin Smith, taken to the house, 68 yards. Seminoles out of safety. It's 12-0. Bethune-Cookman 3-0, but FSU is not Florida International. Craig, back to you.
All right, thank you, Patrick. I would agree. We've seen a couple of pick six today here in Waco.
Both of which were created by pressure from that Baylor defense.
Russell puts that ball in his stomach and past the 20. He's going to be short of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
You know, if I'm Mark Briles, I'm obviously happy about the number of points you're putting up and what the offense has done, but I'm happy about what your defense has done. Those two turnovers early, those were big. You win with turnovers, especially in the Big 12, where you've got offensive teams all over the place, and you're going to have to. There aren't very many 10-7 ball games, 14-10 ball games in the Big 12. You're winning games 38-31, and what's the difference is creating turnovers on defense.
First down by Chafin. He's another redshirt freshman. Just short, 4th down. Baylor is about 50 yards away, Joey, from a school record in total offense.
It seems like every week they're breaking a record for something, whether it's points or total offense.
They need you. They're missing a holder.
That's a holder in college. I'll hop on down.
And now the game clock, play clock runs dry.
Delay game, offense. Penalties 5 yards, 4th down.
Hey, this is what we were talking about earlier. This is a little thing, but these are the things that the head coach is going to jump on in the meetings tomorrow. Your focus as the game goes on. And sure, you're up 70-7. But these are the little things that differentiate, or the difference between being a good team and a championship team.
39-yard attempt. And no good. Fox Sports 1 starts off your Sunday mornings with Fox NFL Kickoff as the guys get you up to speed on all that's happening around the league. And this week you don't want to miss Mike Tyson as he drops by. Then turn to Fox to catch America's #1 pregame show. That's Fox NFL Sunday, and it all begins at 11 a.m. Eastern here on Fox Sports 1. Iron Mike in the house. So it was what would have been a 34-yard field goal. They had to tack on 5 more because they missed a holder. And so the 39-yard attempt falls short. And Louisiana-Monroe's got the football. I don't want to interrupt you between your bites of frozen custard.
I was waiting for you to say something.
Jairus Edwards to the 30-yard line.
Tackled by Tayon Sells and Ryan Stewart.
Tayon Sells, number 26, corner safety with the stop.
It's a Waco tradition, Craig. You have to embrace the town that you come and visit.
Pretty good barbecue around here, too.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
They're going to let this clock run out in the 3rd. Baylor, from the start, dominating at home, 70-7. 3 quarters in the books. And 15 minutes of football left here in Waco, Texas. It's been a track meet. Baylor has shined on both sides of the football. And they're running away from Louisiana-Monroe. Well, today, Louisiana-Monroe has had a heavy dose of Baylor football. The Bears, in a word, big day, that's 2 words. Super speed for 1. They've done nothing wrong except the missed field goal.
I'm trying to think of something. The interception by Seth Russell,
But you're right. There hasn't been a whole lot that you can pick out on film.
Darius Russell with the ball.
Craig, Ryan talked about the speed in the open.
Oh, yeah.
These guys, Antoine Goodley, Tevin Reese, Lake Seastrunk, they all averaged more than 15 yards every time they touched the ball. How about Antoine Goodley's yards per catch? 31.
31 with 2 touchdowns.
You know, I'm just going to touch the ball for 31 yards every time.
His 2 touchdowns, 63 and 65 yards.
Let's not forget Tevin Reese, who upped his, what we call it, a streak. 17 of his 19 career touchdowns now have gone for over 40 yards. The guy's a big play machine, and he's been completely hidden in the shadows behind guys like Terrence Williams, Kendall Wright, who have been phenomenal wide receivers here at Baylor. Tevin Reese has just been a big play machine for the last 3 years.
Fuller back to return the kick. And this will bounce inside the 15, now inside the 10. Baylor special teams, great job. They'll down it at the 1-yard line. Baylor 99 yards away from pay dirt. They're up 77. Just over 14 minutes remaining here in Waco. Time for our Right Stuff Player of the Game, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Antoine Goodley. Yeah, he's the right stuff. 156 yards. As you mentioned, over 31 yards per touch. 5 catches and 2 touchdowns.
You had your pick of them. I mean, really. Petty, Reese, Seastrunk. They were awesome. All of them.
Robbie Rhodes with the catch. Donovan Lewis stayed home, made the tackle. Let's check in with Ryan East.
Joey Craig, we picked Antoine Goodley as the player of the game, and I had a chance to walk by this guy, and I'll tell you what, he's built like a running back. Yes, he plays wide receiver, but from the waist down, he got a big run. His thighs are so huge, it's pretty impressive. I mean, that's why when he catches the ball, he's so hard to bring down. He's a physical receiver. I like to see this guy in the open field. He breaks a lot of tackle and then uses his speed to take it to the house.
You know, we both, I think all 3 of us thought that Goodley was a little taller than 5'10". I think it's the size of the man.
You watch him on film, and he plays like he's about 6'2", 6'3". I mean, he just has a big physical presence on the field. And Baylor has the luxury of having really every type of wide receiver. You know, the short little, you know, the guy who is quick in space, you know, right in between the tackles. In the linebackers finding those zones, the guy who's big and strong on the outside, guys who can just run flat by people. They seem to have everybody in this arsenal.
Anthony Webb. They're going to empty the bench before this game's out. He's 5th on the depth chart. Up top, ball's picked. Was he in bounds? 2 officials look at one another. Yes. Out of bounds, 46-yard line.
Craig, it shouldn't matter. We have a
flag far sideline.
I believe what Seth did is what he did earlier. Saw the offsides, took a shot down the field. It's a smart play by a young quarterback.
Offside, 33 defense. Penalty 5 yards from the previous spot. Repeat, second down.
That's Tevin Kagan's.
I like to see this. I like to see Seth Russell using his cadence, taking shots down the field. I mean, those are the things that veteran quarterbacks do. That, you know, you can tell that he knows situations. He knows football. If I'm Mark Riles, I'm really encouraged by what I'm seeing from Seth Russell here in the second half.
Second down. Hand off to Webb. Clock runs under 12.5 to play. How does this team, Baylor I speak of, Joey, handle another bye week? Last week a bye, they get this game under their belt, and they have to wait another week before they're back on the football field against West Virginia.
It's tough. I mean, when I saw that on their schedule, my first thought was, ooh, that's just an unfortunate situation. One, to have your buys so early in the year, and then 2, to have them in 2 buys in 3 weeks. I mean, you want to have them spaced out. so that you can get a break during your conference play, maybe get a little bye. You know, having one of them at this time is nice so that you can get prepped up for the Big 12 season. But you like to have one later in the year so you can get guys healthy and fresh.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah,
Baylor told us they thought that they were able to heal up a couple of guys last week, but you're right. Come November, late October is when you usually like to have one more in your hip pocket.
Well, and we saw their schedule in November as well. You're going to have to be ready to play, and you're going to need to be fresh against Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech. That's the meat of this Baylor schedule, and not to have a bye is definitely a disadvantage.
Caesar, no chance to return that punt as it bounces into the end zone. 72-yard boot, and there is Lady and Joy. The mascots, the Bears, they're having fun. So are the fans here in Waco. Time for our Chevrolet stats comparison. We look at the two wide receivers for Baylor in Reese and Goodley. 108 yards, 6 catches, 18 yards per catch. As we mentioned, the big day for Antoine, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I can see why they're smiling.
I think Art Briles has to have a smile as well after the first 3 weeks of this football season. McNeil, Sells on the tackle. You know, Phil Bennett told us when we met yesterday, you know, I asked him the same question we asked Art Briles just about overconfidence. And he said, you know, we're confident but not cocky. That was really a telling statement from your D coordinator, because what that tells you, Joey, is he won't let them get cocky.
Well, I think you see what happens when you get cocky, complacent, and anything but focused, no matter what it is, which side of the ball, you know, which side of the spectrum it is, whether you're overconfident or you're just too lax. There's too many good teams out there. They're going to score on you. They're going to beat you. And this is, I'm sure, has been a point of emphasis for Coach Briles and Coach Bennett in getting this defense back on track.
Well, that was a center field catch. Watch out. Baylor with their 3rd pick. And Sells has come in at the safety spot, backing up Terrell Burt, and puts Baylor right back on the front porch. The pressure came off the edge. Brody Trahan, number 15. And that was not a good ball or a good decision by Brayley Brown.
No, you can't throw this ball across the field. Really throws it up into traffic. I mean, that's rule number 1 you learn as a quarterback. You don't throw across your body into the middle of the field, no matter what the situation is.
That was really just a tackle away from being the 3rd interception for a touchdown by Baylor's defense.
32 is now number 41.
Well, they're a touchdown away from going up by 70 points, too.
And a touchdown away from a new scoring record at this stadium.
Here's one for you. Do you know what the largest margin of victory is by an FBS team over an FBS team? Let's say it called the modern.
I would say we're getting close.
Delay game, offense. Penalty 5 yards, 1st down.
81 points. Penn State over Cincinnati in 1991. Do you know what the score was? I know these things off the top of my head.
Uh-huh.
How about 81 to nothing?
Pitch to shutout.
Pitch to shutout. Threw a no-hitter.
Baylor gets the 5 yards back. Chafin, middle of the field. They'll mark him at the 8.5-yard line. 2nd down goal. Under 10 minutes left. Russell takes a long look at that Baylor sideline.
Which is the right thing to do.
No hurry. Chafin again, ball carrier. Second effort trying to push that pile. They're going to mark him down at 5. And now some emotions. I would say that's frustration by Louisiana-Monroe.
Look, we've talked a lot about Baylor and how great they've been on both sides of the ball. It's tough to be on that Louisiana-Monroe sideline right now. It really is, and you have to respect the guys who are out there on the field, still scrapping and still trying to make tackles, not giving them a walk into the end zone. It's a tough thing to do.
Hey, look, the film is still going to be watched by your coaches.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
By your position coach, and there's going to be a lot of breakdown after this game. Ball's out. Still out. Russell tried to dive in on the pile for Baylor. And they're going to peel the onion here, one layer at a time. And it's taken a while. That's several layers.
It's a big onion.
The football remains possession to Baylor. So now 4th down and goal, 8-yard line. Chafin stacked up, maybe a yard, and they're going to turn it over on downs. And so Louisiana-Monroe holds inside the red zone. Let's go downstairs. Special guest who can throw the football and do a little running himself alongside Ryan Neese. Guys?
Craig, you're absolutely right. I do have a special guest. Nick Florence was a quarterback this time here last year for Baylor. You set a single-season record in passing yards. But you just told me a second ago this was your first time back on the sidelines, not suited up. Tell me what you're feeling right now.
It's weird. You know, being down on the sideline 4 years in a row and having pads on and then coming down here in street clothes is a little different. It's nice. It's not stressful, though, which is nice. So
that's good. That's good. When you look at this offense, obviously they're putting up big points again. What is it about this offensive scheme that's so explosive and is, really eats up defenses?
I mean, we got good players, first and foremost. You know, Coach Browse and staff done a good job recruiting. Then those guys are hungry. You know, they want to make a name for themselves, and the staff do a great job of calling plays. And it's not about one man or one person. You know, everybody does their part, and then everybody gets a taste of the ball and does their thing.
Now, when we were in the meeting room the other day, Joey Harrington upstairs asked you the question, what is it about the scheme, the spread offense, what are you guys trying to do to break down defenses? And you wouldn't give away the secret sauce. So can you give us away a little bit, give us a little taste?
You just want to make the defense do the wrong thing. You know, it's all about executing the play, and whatever you do, make the defense make the wrong move, and then you go and score. And then you just speed kills. That's the other thing that Coach Browse always says. If you have the fastest guys on the field, you can do some dangerous things. So.
Now, I appreciate your time. Thank you for being down here. Enjoy the rest of this game. Back up to you guys.
All right. Thanks so much, Ryan. I saw Nick Florence last year go toe-to-toe with Geno Smith, and Geno got most of the love in that ball game, in that wild game. That Geno really had the Heisman Trophy in his back pocket, but from that point on, Joey, things went downhill for West Virginia and Geno Smith.
Yeah, they did. You didn't hear anything about Nick and the day he had throwing for 505 touchdowns. Just a paltry day comparison to
Yeah, he was marvelous that day, and here he is in action. He just was a great player, a good teammate. He handled the huddle. He was also, as you mentioned, Joey, they had the ability to get the ball downfield, and also pretty good feet.
Yeah, just a smart football player. And Ryan was right. I tried to pick his brain. I tried to figure out what the secret was to this Baylor offense. And in short, it's like Ryan said. Like Nick said, it's making the defense do the wrong thing. Baylor wants to spread you out as far as possible, create space, and force you to do the wrong thing. Baylor has done exactly that all day today, forcing Louisiana-Monroe to do the wrong thing all day.
Well, this is the Baylor line, the freshman class that runs out to form that tunnel to welcome in the Baylor Bears. Ryan Neese ran with them and nearly, I think he won the race.
Ran with them. He ran ahead. He ran through them and got ahead of them.
And they're still here. Yes, they are. 6 minutes left. Webb, the ball carrier. Oh, it's good to be a freshman in college. Remember those old days there, Joey?
What are you talking about? Old days? That was just last week for me.
Oh, they run by fast. For Louisiana-Monroe, where do you go from this point? Is it one of those games, and Joey, you mentioned you've been involved in runaways. Do you look at the tape? Do you look at it? Do you burn it because you got Tulane next week?
I think you burn it. Personally, I mean, there's two ways to go about it. You can sit and nitpick and point out all the mistakes that you made, but you risk punching holes in the confidence and the psyche of a team that, frankly, can be really good. Colton Browning had a poor day. He had an off day, and that's going to happen. But the key is to pick him back up, have Colton pick his teammates back up, because this is a team that can compete for a Sun Belt championship, and you don't want to destroy that confidence here early in the season.
3rd down and 13, under 5 minutes left. Russell feels the pressure from the edge. Slings it downfield. Magical catch and out of bounds. Baylor at the 46-yard line. Well, Brandon Brown with the circus catch. And let's go back and ask, Joey, what did you really learn from Nick Florence about the secret of Baylor football with the spread offense?
Well, yeah, it's a different philosophy. I mean, it's the idea of using the entire field, not just the length of the field, but the width of the field as well, forcing the defense to declare their hand. You know, when the wideouts are splitting the numbers in the hash right here, most wideouts line up right there at the top of the numbers. Instead, the Baylor wideouts are all the way almost to the sideline. It's another 5 yards of space. A corner cannot disguise what he's going to do as easily when he's out there on an island. A linebacker cannot disguise as easily if he's going to blitz or drop into coverage when he's split 12 yards from the line of scrimmage, simply because he has to cover that guy. It forces a defense to declare what they're going to do, which in turn allows quarterbacks to make quicker decisions because they don't have to guess. They can look at the picture, say, I know what it is, I'm going to make a decision, and go.
Yeah, that's a good breakdown. There's balls out. Still out. And then tossed out of bounds at the 49-yard line. It looked like Seth Russell decided to toss that ball out of bounds. What affects that, though, that whole makeup when you spread the field? I'm going to guess it's pressure, blitzes.
It is. It's winning, the ability to win the one-on-one matchups. The ability to tackle in space. You know, I remember a good example last year, the Oregon-Stanford game. Oregon is another team that Baylor is often compared to offensively. And Stanford, that front seven last year was one of the best in college football. And the reason they were able to win that game, Stanford was because they broke down. They tackled in space. They never allowed that big play.
There is no foul on the play for illegal batting. The ball is out of bounds where it crossed the sideline.
They never allowed Oregon to get out into space and create that big momentum play. You have to be able to tackle. That's the key. You have to be able to tackle in space if you're going to play these fast, spread you out type of teams.
Russell tossed it out of bounds. As you heard, there's no flag on the batting call. 48-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 12 as we roll up on 3 minutes left in this game. So the 3rd string QB jumps on the field. And some playing time as Art Briles continues to show his depth, Joey. And, you know, a couple of reps here and there will help you down the stretch.
Every bit of playing time helps. It's something else to reference when you get into that situation later on. Seth Russell got some valuable playing time. It may seem like just garbage throwaway time, but he got some valuable situational experiences. We talked about the offsides. Okay, defense jumps offsides. You got a shot. You got a chance of free play. Take a shot down the field. And he did it twice, and one of them got intercepted, but it doesn't matter because he learns that play comes back, and now he knows next time to continue to do that.
Punts away, trying to punch it inside the 5. Special teams batted back in, play at the 2-yard line. Beautiful play by the special teams. 43-yard touchdown. Goodley's had a big day. He's on the sideline. He's resting. 2 touchdowns as he runs away from Louisiana-Monroe.
Hey, Craig, the rule in college, if anything crosses that goal line, player, ball, anything, those guys don't matter. Once that ball crosses the end line, touchback. Doesn't matter if you bat it back. It's not like the NFL. You cannot jump in there and bat it back into the field of play. Once that ball crosses the end line, the goal line, excuse me, touchback.
A good call by the officials. There was a bunch of Baylor Bears down there trying to push it back. And they were Johnny on the spot.
Giving high fives, Roth. Congratulating his guys for keeping his yardage up. Oh, man.
Then he knew.
Take 20 off the net.
Hurt the average a little bit.
It's all about average today for Baylor, right? Seastrunk in the average, Goodley in the average, Roth, Reese in the average. No, not the punter. You don't let the punter get in the action.
Under a minute and a half to play. Davis Courtney in the backfield. Breaks a tackle and another to the 20, stacked up.
We talked about valuable playing experience for Seth Russell under center. How about Oakley? Still in the ball game. Oakman. I keep thinking of Charles Oakley. Sean Oakman, just a raw talent, coach said. 6'9", 270 pounds.
Says he plays violent. We know this is a violent game, but he's got a little special edge to him.
Yeah, he's got to learn how to play technique. That's the key at defensive end. There are a lot of athletes out there who can get into the backfield, but not many who can do it and still keep contained, still play within your lanes.
Davis thrown back for a loss at the 19-yard line. And the final seconds are ticking away. Both coaches will meet at midfield, and a runaway performance today by Art Briles and Baylor.
You have to be extremely happy, not just with your offense, but with your defense if you're Coach Briles.
Well, for Joey Harrington and Ryan Neese, this is Craig Bolerjack. We say good evening from Waco, Texas, where once again the final score, Baylor 70, Louisiana-Monroe 7. Coming up after a short break, we'll send you back to Rob Stone in our Fox College Saturday studios in L.A. 70-7, Baylor. You've been watching Fox College Football on Fox Sports 1.